Hello and welcome to the Con Couple. I'm Richard.
I'm Caroline.
And we go to a frankly horrifying number of conventions every year.
Well, for this episode, I say we go to the perfect number of conventions because this is episode 69. Nice.
So,
Dear children. I'm sorry, Anthro, Ohio, that your episode is technically 6-7.
We're sorry.
We apologize in advance. We'll actually, retroactively.
Your charity auction, you sold badge 6-7.
Yep.
So you have no leg to stand on that one.
You really don't.
But yeah, given how much of a party con this is, this being episode 69 feels weirdly appropriate.
Yep.
So we're kind of happy it worked out that way.
Yes. So this is Colossalcon, which I don't know why you always make me say it, because the title of the episode already has it on it.
I know. Maybe some people are, just have the playlist on and aren't, reading each episode title. That's not impossible.
Honestly, we should just not say it and see if people can guess what con it is. Maybe we should just do an entire episode without,
ever say what it is.
Yeah, and just put Mystery Con on the title to see if anyone can figure it out.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun game for our fans.
Yep, both of them. But yeah, so this was Colossalcon, and specifically this is Colossalcon Prime.
So Colossalcon, if you're not familiar, we did do an episode on it last year, and this is our third year going to Colossalcon Prime. We did this over a 4-year period. We went 1 year. I'm not going to do math to figure out what year that was. We skipped the next year, and then we went last year and also this year.
So we did 25 and 26. We missed 24, and we were there for 23.
You could have just let that one rest.
No, I couldn't.
So Colossalcon, if you're not familiar, is a con that has a number of conventions all at Kalahari resorts. This one is called Prime because it was the first one. From what little history I can find, Colossalcon did not originally start at Kalahari resorts, but they moved to Kalahari resorts, which is a water park. And since then, the Kalahari makes bank off of them, so it wants them at all of their resorts.
Mm-hmm. So they've expanded into several other Kalaharis.
Yes.
We actually also did Colossalcon East.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of last, Kalahari, Colossalcon East 2025.
Yeah.
We don't know if we'll do we don't know if we'll do it this year. It's going to depend on a whole bunch of factors.
Yeah, I'm because we're likely doing IFC as opposed to Missouri that weekend. Kalahari or Colossalcon East would be the weekend after that, and we probably don't want to go away cons on back-to-back weekends after the school year started. So I don't think it's likely we're going this year, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Plus, it's the same week as the Macedonian Festival, and I kind of want to review that on the podcast.
Oh, God.
As somebody who is part of a nationality that has, I don't know what their exact population is, but it's a couple million at most. And in the United States, it's definitely less than 1 million, so...
Yep. Here's the problem with doing that as an episode. I can't talk about that.
Yes, you can.
I'm too white.
I'm also white.
Yeah, I know, but you are actually of Macedonian descent. I'm not.
Yeah, it actually is an ethnicity. It's not one that's going to read as anything other than white in America, at least if you're as light-skinned as I am. There are other people from the country who are less light-skinned who I do think probably read as some form of Middle Eastern in a way that I don't. Mm-hmm. But yeah. I don't, experience institutional racism in any capacity, so...
Yeah.
That is an episode that why are we throwing a grenade on that right now?
You're the one who started talking about it.
Yeah, and you're the one who brought up, racism.
Yeah, it's fine. So, Colossalcon Prime is their big event.
Yes. This is their show.
Yeah.
East is pretty big, too. I think it's second biggest. Mm-hmm. And then there's also North and Texas. Not South Stripper Bash. It's Texas.
Was it Vash or was it Jim?
It was Vash.
Yeah. But either way, it doesn't really matter in this context. We can basically say we have been to 2 of the Colossal Cons. This is the biggest. So we do have a fair amount to talk about. So yeah. There will be a slight break in this episode because we're not actually driving straight home for this one. We're actually swinging through Cleveland to go visit your bridesmaids.
Yes. We will try to stay there, I think, for a while, but we're trying not to get on the road too late because we also do have pets. And because this is effectively a 5-day convention now, they miss us. So. Yeah. It'll also be the last road trip, I think, for a while.
Yes.
Especially since we're idiots and are planning to do both Anthrocon and Techo as drive cons. That's a dumb decision.
Yeah, we're just driving back and forth to those rather than getting a hotel or an Airbnb.
It will save us money. It will also harm our sleep schedules severely.
Yeah.
But,
But, yeah, again, we're buying a house, so, you need to save money wherever you can.
Yeah.
So, Colossalcon Prime.
It's a party con.
It's a party con. the thing is, anytime you have a water park that serves a lot of booze, people are going to have parties.
Yep.
Like the late night swim is one of their main events. We've never been to it because, for one thing, you need to pay extra for it.
Some people, I think, only pay for that. I'm not really sure if you can, though.
No, I think you do need to buy a badge for the
You
main
do need
event.
for the late night swim, yes.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of, I guess, quote unquote, ghosting at this con. I don't know how much it technically counts as ghosting. Some people just aren't interested in anything related to the main convention and are just there to party. So they just don't buy badges. They just kind of go to the rooms and stuff, which is also fine, I think, in this context.
Yep. And it's also a con that's absolutely notorious for, if you want to stay on site, may the odds be ever in your favor.
Yep.
And yes, the Hunger Games reference was very 100% deliberate. It's a mess. Like, it's one of those cons where rooms become available at a set time, and 5 minutes later there are no more rooms available.
Yeah. I think that's part of the reason, like, East is actually second most popular, is I think a lot of people try to go to Prime, don't get rooms, and then wind up going to East, because they are technically within driving distance of each other, at least they're the two that are closest together.
Yeah, we drove to East last time.
So it serves a similar population.
Yeah. Yeah, whereas doing the one in Texas, that would take a bit more planning and logistics and an overnight stop along the way. And we ain't doing that.
So we did get a better Airbnb this year.
We did. Like, last year's Airbnb was definitely pretty sketchy. This one was a little close to a main road for your tastes.
Yeah, it wasn't as good, but it was like $300 for 4 to 5 nights. So that was nice.
Yeah, I got there in the way. So,
yeah.
Well, when we go chronological, we'll kind of talk about
we do have to talk about the Airbnb first, because we did wind up going there first.
Yeah. Okay. So, we'll talk about the venue for Colossal itself.
Yep.
So, the Kalahari Resorts convention space is basically built on a figure 8, to all intents and purposes, with a couple of like big rooms in the center of the two, in the center of the 8. And then those rooms are usually subdivided, and then a bunch of other smaller rooms around the perimeter, which are used as panel space.
Yeah. And it's also worth noting they don't cap tickets pretty much at all.
Nope.
And it is something for which they're always pretty much stressed against the venue space. I will say, having gone there for 3 years now, the more you go, the more I think you can effectively navigate crowds to your liking a little bit more.
Yeah.
And their ADA stuff, which we'll talk about more, is also great for stuff like that. At least it's about as good as it can be.
Yeah.
And to some extent, I do understand them not capping tickets, just because, frankly, I'm not sure that capping tickets is actually going to stop anyone from coming.
Nope.
So, because you can do plenty of things in the space without purchasing a ticket, so you might as well maximize ticket sales.
Yeah. Now, with that said, they do a fair amount of badge checking at this con.
Yes.
But the specific way they do that is there are about half a dozen or so entrances and exits from that convention space, one of which leads into the main hotel. And the rest all, are to, like, the car parks and the exterior. And basically all they do is they just have tables set up there with a couple of people at each table whose responsibility is to check you on the way in, just to visually confirm you have a badge that allows you in on that day. And the way they make sure you've got a badge for the correct day is they've just got different art for different types of badges. So VIP badges, panelist badges, multi-day badges, all have different art and different background colors on that art.
Yep.
So they are mostly just looking at the front of the badge and going, are you a color that is allowed in on this day?
Yeah, one maybe incredibly minor, I'm not even sure if it's a fair criticism that I do have a little bit of their artwork, is they do kind of lean a little bit heavily into big boobed anime girls for everything.
Yeah, big boob bikini anime girls specifically, because again, like, it's a con that takes place at a water park, and they lean into that.
They do, and like, there are more people there having fun doing sexy cosplay, which I attempted to do.
We'll talk about that.
As opposed to people who are like, I'm sure there's some creeps. There's creeps everywhere, generally. But generally, I will say somebody wore a sexy cosplay this weekend. I did not encounter any creeps. In fairness, I did leave at 11 p.m. But I didn't encounter any creeps. And I was with you the entire time. But I didn't encounter any creeps.
Yeah. Like, again, I'm sure there are... A con of this nature is going to have some issues with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, people do understand the whole cosplay is not consent thing.
Yeah.
Like, there was one guy who, when we were getting photographs, was like, is like an arm around your shoulder okay? Or would you prefer stood side by side? And you're like, no, the arm around the shoulder's fine. But he asked the question.
Yep.
I am sure if you'd said no side, you'd prefer side by side, he would have been perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
He was polite about it, so like, no criticism. Like,
yes.
That guy handled that situation great.
Yeah.
And I think generally speaking, most of the people this weekend were pretty good.
Yeah. I do want to emphasize we're not around for any of the late night party stuff. So those of you expecting any of that drama, one, you're not going to hear about it, and two, we can't review how safe those parties are for various groups of people.
Yeah.
Because we're not the demographic who really likes going to stuff.
Yeah,
I can't drink.
You physically can't drink. We have at least figured out the reason for that.
Yeah, I know. You mentioned that 6 times.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. And I don't drink out of solidarity. Plus, again, normally one of the things I talk about on this podcast is the venue food.
Mm-hmm.
I deliberately didn't have any of it this time because, again,
we are closing on a house in theory.
Yeah, tomorrow.
In theory.
This
episode might not even be up, but by the time this episode is up, we might have closed. Maybe.
Yeah.
Also, this episode might be up late because of that.
This episode is supposed to go out at 6 o'clock on Monday. It usually ends up on the audio platform slightly earlier than that.
Yeah.
Our meeting to do the closing is at 4:30. So
yep.
By the time you hear this, we should hopefully have closed.
And keep in mind, we can't get into the house, not that any of you care, for another month because the owner asked for an extension, time period, which works out better for us anyway. So we were fine with it.
Yeah, just based on when our rent contract ends.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is very much just one of those. We've got a lot of stuff going on, and we are trying to save money wherever we can in the short to medium term. So so I didn't buy any convention food, at least in part because, I've had the Kalahari's food. It's perfectly tolerable, but it's also really goddamn overpriced. $15 for chicken tenders is BS, and you all know it. And so they do at least have a decent variety, and they had added more places to get food this year. There was an entire extra prepackaged sandwich and beverage, coffee and fruit juice kind of place that they've just carved out a space for it. I don't know how they did that. But they managed it. So they do consistently add more stuff each year. But the prices on it are expensive, and I know for a fact that the Kalahari makes absolute bank off this event.
Yeah.
So was there much else about the menu? Oh, parking.
It's free.
It is free.
It's a madhouse.
It's a madhouse. Get there early, or you are probably going to end up parking on the grass somewhere.
Yeah. And I will say, you'll probably discover your spot and your parking trick if you go enough times. There's a couple things, this in the quiet bathroom, I don't think I'm going to reveal on the podcast, but if you talk to me directly, I will give you some tips.
Yeah. But generally speaking, my advice is if you want a parking spot, get there early. Now, if you're staying at the hotel, they do actually have a pretty good sized parking lot.
Yep.
And if your car's going to be sitting there for all weekend, great, fine, not a problem. Turn up sometime on Wednesday, you'll be fine. Get parked up and just don't touch your car for the next several days. You'll be fine. Though the one thing that I did notice they did this year that I can't remember if they did previous years was they had valet parking. So they had a big section of the parking lot, sectioned off for that, and it was $25 for valet parking, and nobody was goddamn using it because screw that noise.
Yep.
Valet parking is a scam at the best of times. So that was dumb.
Sorry, now I'm just it was the best of cons, it was the worst of cons, it was the dealer's den of hope, it was the artist alley of despair.
Wow.
But I probably should have inverted those. Anyway.
Yeah, dealer's den of despair does actually track better as well. There's some alliteration.
Yeah, no, maybe I should do that. Maybe that'll be the next in-character cosplay thing I do is just Charles Dickens. Maybe I should just give up on trying to do popular things.
I mean, you made me play Dickens for you once.
I did, that's what we meant.
Yeah, this is true. Not that specific thing, but, anywho. But so the parking generally can be a bit of a madhouse later in the day. If you get there early enough, you'll be fine.
But again, it's free, and everything else at this con is insanely expensive, so keep that. I will say we did this con fairly cheap because our Airbnb was cheap, and we only paid for one badge because they do have a good badge reimbursement policy, and I submitted a panel that they accepted.
Yep, and we'll talk about that when we get there, but you do a panel, you get a free badge, which is very nice and very good, but and they do have a lot of panel programming,
Which I appreciate. It feels very anime con in terms of they have a lot of panel programming. The thing I also like is they have a lot of very silly anime or programming on their schedule as well, which I actually do like a lot. I get a little bit tired of when panel program is either like voice actors or just academic talks, which in fairness is what I did, but that's what people tend to accept. I want a panel that is just straight white dude, which is legitimately on here, straight white dude writes fan fiction for the first time is a panel here.
Yep.
And we didn't go to that, but that sounds awesome.
Yep. I'm glad that got accepted. And
yes.
Yeah, we do think we're probably going to start like submitting more panels to cons that are
like this,
where we think it's going to be worth doing.
Well, like, it's one of those things for which I don't mind doing academic panels, but it's very much in my wheelhouse. It's not hard for me to do, but it is something for which, like, cons are more about my creative energy for me than they are my academic energy. So I want to do more creative stuff. I want to do improv panels or tier rank panels or stuff like that. And for a lot of cons,
if you submit both, they will accept the academic one.
Yes, you didn't let me finish my sentence.
Sorry.
The other thing I was going to actually say is that for a lot of cons, there's already like a group of people who just monopolizes the silly panels, and we'll have like one room and one group that just does all of them, which means that it's kind of hard to break into that space a little bit more. Whereas Colossalcon, at least right now, looks like you could submit a silly panel and have a decent chance of being accepted.
Like, I freely admit, I still want to do a panel on Starfleet because nobody in this country has heard of it, and it's great. And it would be appropriate for an anime con for reasons I won't spoil. But
the downside to that, if you do have a good panel reimbursement policy, especially at a con like this,
there are a lot of people who very clearly submitted a panel in order to get a free badge and then did almost no prep for it.
Yep.
Which we'll talk about as we kind of go through and talk about the actual individual events we did.
And I want to be clear, I would rather have this as a problem of you having too many panels and some of them kind of being mediocre, as opposed to having too few panels and them all being done by the same group and not giving anyone free badges for doing panels. Like, I do think this is the better problem to have.
I agree.
It's just for which you could use a little bit more fine-tuning.
Yeah. And again, like, for the record, they have 8 panel rooms, plus some other space where events are going on. And generally speaking, they have stuff at almost every time slot. Like, barring the times when some of the bigger rooms are doing setup time, because, like, one of the things that was going on is a wrestling show. They need time to set up their ring. So, like, the room has to be closed for a set amount of time so they can do setup for that. You know, and that kind of stuff. But other than that, generally speaking, they have stuff for every time slot. And when we say every time slot, we mean up to 2 a.m. Like, they have panels going on between 2 and 3 a.m.
Yep. It's insane.
Yep. So, yeah. Is there anything else to talk about the venue?
I mean, there's stuff that will come up generally. They also have an arcade. So they have the traditional, like, free to play arcade games that they have that come with the con that most cons, particularly anime cons, rent out.
Yep.
They also have a pay to play arcade that's various games and a lot of claw machines in their kind of section next to the water park. They also have a Build-A-Bear down there, weirdly, and a bunch of convention stores you can just buy random souvenirs and stuff like that.
And yeah, that stuff's not the con stuff. That is purely stuff the Kalahari has.
Yep.
But you can absolutely win.
People use the space regularly.
Yeah, especially the arcade that the Kalahari has. You frequently see like people like posing on the arcade motorbike racing games for, like, you know, cool cosplay photos and stuff like that. Which, hey, the stuff is there to be used. Use it.
They also, this con we discovered this year has like these massive 40-person villas that are across the street from the main venue, and they are further away, but they are party central at night, as you would expect.
Yeah. But you can theoretically, you know, it says, like, I think it's between 40 and 66 people are recommended to be in one of those villas. Now, if you have 65 friends who are all planning to come and you want to get one of those, go for it. Yep. But be aware that is going to be party central.
Yeah. A lot of people here purchase hotel rooms to basically share with their friends, and we did some walking around. There's not a hotel room at this con that does not look in disarray. Which is not a judgment. Enjoy your weekend. But, like, I hope the maid staff is...
Yeah, I hope the cleaning staff are being paid overtime on this one, because, Jesus.
Oh, hear me out. Like, maid cafe, but they're just, like, actual maids, and they just go in.
They're just allowed to, smack upside the head any whose room was left in a particularly rough state.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And yeah, I will say a lot of this also just depends on the goodness of attendees. And this year we met a lot of very good attendees and also some less good ones. So.
Yeah.
Ready to get into chronological order?
I believe so. So before we do that, if you are listening to this, don't forget we have a special bonus con ribbon you can acquire if you give us a secret passphrase, and the secret passphrase is always in the previous week's episode. What do we want to make the new secret passphrase?
Colossalcon is now gone.
Sure.
Because it's ended, not because it's disappearing.
Yeah, sure. Colossalcon is now gone.
Okay.
So if you say that to us next week at the convention we're at, you can have the special ribbon.
Ooh.
That's probably not going to happen. Given
And as I always want to emphasize, this is not meant to be like a marketing thing. It's mostly just meant to be a, oh, hey, you listen to the podcast. That's kind of cool type thing.
And if you want one of the regular ribbons,
just ask us. Or just say my cosplay looks cool.
Yeah. So, chronological?
Yeah.
So this con started on Wednesday.
Yep. Thursday was originally day 0. It's now just a full con day for them. It just is.
Yep.
It starts at 12, which most other stuff starts at 10. It's just a full day.
Yep. So we did drive down on Wednesday. I had to go to work.
Yep.
So we left at what, like 5:30?
Yep.
It's about a 2.5-hour drive for us, this one.
Yep.
And the Airbnb was what, about 2 out of 10?
Yeah.
Because it was about a 20-minute drive away. And it was almost exactly on the route, which was kind of helpful.
Yeah.
So we basically, rather than going straight to the con, which is what we normally do, we drove to the Airbnb, unloaded all of our stuff, and then kind of figured out whether it was worth going to the con that night.
Yeah, and it probably is worth mentioning, because I don't think we did yet. That Wednesday, I unintentionally got some pretty bad family news that I was dealing with through the majority of this weekend. And like most family news, when somebody doesn't die in your family, it's way too complicated to explain. So no one died, and it's really complicated to explain.
Yeah, like we talk about a lot of our personal life on this con. We ain't talking about that stuff.
We can't. We need a 3-hour episode just to explain what it even was.
Yeah.
It's very hard to understand unless you understood like a bunch of very complex dynamics.
Yeah.
And I'm sure most people's families are honestly probably like that. You probably have had some sort of family problem that you can't explain to anyone else because it just involves too many like 20-year history things. Your family isn't like that. Your family is boring.
My family is very boring. I like my family that way. But so you weren't in the best headspace for a few days at this con. Is probably the best way to describe it.
Your family's drama is getting a new broom.
Look, they've been meaning to replace that broom for quite a while, so the fact they got round to it was actually important news.
They had a 20-minute conversation about this.
It was only like 15 minutes.
So yeah, I was not in the best space when we got to the Airbnb. I will also say that finding cheap Airbnbs around any place near the Kalahari, because it's also a fairly popular tourist area, because it has Cedar Point and a few various other things up there that people like to go to just generally, is hard. So you have to compromise somewhere. This one was kind of on a busy street, but was next to store to a bunch of cows, which I thought was cool.
Yep. And yeah, as I say, about a 20-minute drive, which that's acceptable. So we basically unloaded at the Airbnb and decided, okay, it's worth going to the con tonight to at least pick up our badges.
Yep.
So we're not fighting with lines tomorrow. And then we'll kind of see if we want to go to any panels or just kind of like scope the space out.
And if you were wondering if it was already crowded on a Wednesday night, it was.
Yeah, it was. Like, it was nowhere near as bad as it got the rest of the weekend, but it was pretty busy.
Yeah.
So, got parked without any problems, because again, Wednesday night. Walked into the venue. I don't think you didn't dress up at that point, did you?
No, it was just because we were just going in to pick stuff up. We thought about maybe catching a panel or two, but then we just kind of decided that it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, we basically walked in through what is ostensibly the main entrance to the convention center, and just basically asked, where do we need to go to pick up our badges? Because at that point, badge pickup was kind of on the other side of the convention center.
Yep.
And throughout from Friday onwards, they would have been saying, you need to go outside, go that way, and they would have directed you that way, rather than letting you into the convention space. On Wednesday, and I believe most of Thursday as well, they were just saying, you go that way, go pick them up. Like, they were letting you go through the space, rather than making you go outside, which was good. I don't like it when they make you go outside in order to collect your badge.
Yeah.
So kind of hard to describe it. There's basically a like section that leads into the main hotel space, which again has a couple of rooms and a big bar just off it.
Well, technically, we picked up my badge first.
We did, but it was all in that same area.
Yeah, I know.
So we kind of walked through to that section.
Mm-hmm.
We then went to go your badge first because, as a panelist, we needed to get yours at ConOps.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about this process?
Yeah. So basically, we walked into ConOps. There were a bunch of people in there because it was the first day of the con. So, of course, there were. I will say it wasn't really well labeled where you were supposed to go. But a person ahead of us was also a panelist. We just followed them. Yep. And it took like 2 seconds. So they just verified my name. I think they checked my ID.
Nope.
Okay. We had our IDs out for some reason.
That was later.
Okay.
So they asked your name.
Yep.
You told them. She basically just looked you up on, I'm assuming, a list of panelists and said, okay, here you go. Handed you your panelist badge.
They did ask if I had purchased a badge already, because one thing that I do like that they do, and a lot of cons I think should start doing, is if you already purchase a badge, then you get accepted as a panelist, you get your money back, effectively.
Yes.
And there is a reason that you would want to do that. It's just Colossalcon, like a lot of cons, badges are cheaper the earlier you purchase them. So if you purchased a badge early, then became a panelist, you could get a reimbursement if you showed up, which is, I think, a great way to do it.
Yeah, I think it strikes the right kind of balance. Yeah. But this was one where we might not have come if you hadn't had the. Yeah, maybe we would.
We probably would have still come.
We probably would still have come.
I wanted if we got into the airing character contest, which was the main thing, we would have come, which we did. So.
But yeah, so either way, you hadn't purchased a ticket, so you got your panelist badge, nice and simple. We then went and got mine. Mm-hmm. So they had the desk set up kind of around the corner, and they only used this as the admission desk on Wednesday and Thursday. And I think it's just to keep other areas like flowing a little smoother on those days. But whatever the reason, that process was incredibly efficient. I had been emailed a QR code when I bought the badge, which I literally did earlier this week. Walked up, they scanned it. They went, yep, you're good. Handed me a multi-day badge, which is what I bought. Because like a lot of conventions, they do different like tiers of badging. Mm-hmm. So in this case, multi-day just means Wednesday through Sunday, standard entry. Nothing fancy, job done. You can also buy like individual day badges. I think there's a Saturday or Sunday only badge. Like they do actually have a lot of different options for what kind of badge you want. Mm-hmm. Depending on what days you're able to attend, which I do like. Because they are a convention. Any convention this long, I do think you need to give people options. Don't know what you think?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I felt that was pretty straightforward and easy.
Yeah.
Took more like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and then we stopped by Health and Safety to get my accessibility sticker.
Yes. Do you want to talk about how they do this?
Yeah. Basically, Health and Safety is just kind of... So there's some things that are in rooms, and there's some things that are just stands. So Health and Safety is just like a stand you can go up to. And we just walk up to it. You just say that you have accessibility needs. They did ask me if I had needs that were, I think, related to bringing in outside food or drink or medication. Because the Kalahari technically has a rule against that. And that honestly would be useful for me. But, like, I've never seen it enforced. So I just said had general accessibility needs. And they gave me a general accessibility sticker. I like it. It's really small on your badge. No one can see it unless they're looking for it, which I really like a lot.
Yeah.
And I will say also this weekend, generally, we just said I was ADA, and people just kind of
checked.
Yeah. It's good, I think, one, if you're a person who's ADA in a way for which you can't communicate, so you need to explain stuff to people in a way where you can't, like, physically say something.
Yep.
And it's also good in case you need to verify, but for the most part. The one criticism I do have about this, and we'll talk a little bit about that, is ADA lines and FastPass lines
are the same line.
Yeah, which gets very confusing.
Mm-hmm. Like generally the people in those lines were very respectful.
Yeah. Generally the going rule is ADA gets in first and fast passes after that, and everyone pretty much followed that this weekend.
Like at one point there was one particular event, I don't even remember specifically which one it was. Might have been the Beyblades thing.
Yeah.
Where we went up, the person there was several people in the fast pass line. As soon as the person at the front of that group realized you were ADA, not fast pass, they were like, oh no, you should be in front of me. Cool. Mm-hmm. But that was a thing that a person did rather than a staffer did.
Yeah, I was trying to get out of the way because, again, hallways are very, very crowded, especially if you're in a ball gown. So I'm like, I'm going to move over here. And they were like, I'll stand over here. So I said, like, I'll stand over here, but I'll let you go in first because you were here before me. And they were like, oh, no, you're ADA, so you should go in first, which is very sweet. So, And they weren't, like, being nosy about that. They just saw me talking to the attendant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they heard me asking the question about
Yeah.
the ADA stuff. So yeah, and generally the staff this weekend were very good about that. I felt.
Yeah. One thing I will say, and this will be a growing theme throughout the weekend too, is it's very random. One, what rooms have an attendant on them? What rooms are being cleared for stuff versus not cleared for stuff? And I also do think that one thing I would say with ADA that I would like a little bit more clarification on is just, if somebody is ADA and they want to stay for the next panel, just let them stay in the room and have that be a clearly communicated policy. Because particularly with ADA, because they get let in the room first anyway, as they should be, making them stand up if they have a disability, walk out of the room, then walk back in is just a waste of everyone's time and energy. So I would recommend communicating that policy a little bit better to staff. But otherwise, ADA was fantastic this weekend.
Because one of the things, not standing in lines is a thing that's kind of important for a lot of people with ADA.
Yeah.
And if you still have to stand in a line, even if it's a different line, it's still not great.
Yeah, that is one of the things, is there's not a lot of places for ADA people to stand. A little bit of that is an overcrowding issue. But given that you're doing some line control in the car or door anyway, if you could just have a space marked off, that would be nice.
Yep. Again, there's a few little things you can do that I think would improve the experience.
Also, you should probably explain fast passes briefly.
Yes. So
Colossalcon's a bit unique in the fact that it has a weird fast pass system.
Yeah. So if you buy certain tiers of badges, so I know the VIP gets a set number.
Yeah.
You get a set number of fast passes. These are literally paper tickets that they give you, that if you want to go into a certain event and you want to get in at the front of the line, you can present a fast pass to the person manning the door, and you basically get to stand in the line. And these are single-use items.
Yes.
But they're also not badge-specific. Which does mean that if you get, I did not check how many you get. I probably should have. If you get 5 of them, that means either you can use that personally to get into 5 different events, or you could distribute them amongst your 4 other friends, and you can all get in quickly to one single event together.
Yeah. It's basically, most cons that do VIP badges might do lightning lanes or something like that for VIPs who get in before people just generally. This is basically meant to be that system, but a little bit more flexible. If you had a group of friends and you really, really wanted to get good seats to just the cosplay competition, only one of you would need to buy a VIP badge, and then you could all go to the cosplay competition.
Yeah.
So in some ways it actually does work better, although I imagine it is a bit more cumbersome.
Yes. So yeah, again, as with most things, I think there are advantages and disadvantages to it. It does benefit those who pay more money.
Yeah.
Which I always, again, I'm never a fan of that generally. I understand the logic behind it, but I generally am not a fan. And because there is not space to put 3 different lines to each event, it does mean that you end up with a normal line and then an ADA/fast pass line, and I'm not a massive fan of combining those 2 things. I get why you have to. There is no logistical way to not, but it does mean you run into a few issues.
The other issue you have with it generally, and this was just also a thing the other weekend, it's one, and this isn't on the con, one, it's very unclear what events are going to be crowded.
Yeah.
Obviously the cosplay contest is going to be crowded. A couple of the other big things are going to be crowded, but it's unclear, what's going to be popular versus not a lot of the time at the cons.
Yeah.
And other times, there are just legitimately, because there's not enough staff, there are just events that don't have lines at all, and people are just kind of walking in and out at various times of day, and it's hard to predict which ones those are.
Yep. And generally speaking, it's fine. It's just part of the problem is this is a convention where people are so used to queuing at this point that there are a bunch of rooms we saw that 20 minutes before the event there was a line already starting to form, despite the fact there was a panel currently going on that had only a third of the seats filled, where those people could have just gone in, sat at the back of that panel, and there was no staffer who would have tried to clear them out.
Yeah, there were multiple times where panelists, because there just were people waiting outside rooms, had to call them in themselves because they were just waiting outside.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things where I do debate, particularly this kind of help with hallway control, if for any event that's not a very major event, so anything that's not in Events 1 or Events 2, if you just let it be an open door policy, I really don't think it would hurt anyone that much. Just let people walk into and out of the rooms freely.
Yeah, maybe Events 3 as well.
Yeah.
But also weirdly Events 6, which is on that corridor.
Yeah. The event, this is one of the things, the event numbering system makes zero sense.
Yeah.
It really doesn't if you look at the map.
1 is their largest space. Fine. 2 is their second largest space. Great, logical. 3 is, quite near those 2 and is a decent sized room. Okay.
Yeah, you have to walk past event 6 to get to event 3.
Yes. 6 for some reason is next to 3. 4 and 8 are on like the 2 lower prongs of the 8.
Yeah.
7 is the smallest, and like
it makes no sense.
Yeah. 1, 2, and 3 makes sense. Everything after that is just okay. Like, it's been consistent.
Yeah, I do think they just keep it this way because it's always been this way. I imagine they moved stuff around previously, and now just because everyone knows what stuff is, they just keep it there.
I'm wondering if, like, some of these rooms are rooms that were added later.
Yeah.
So, which, by the Kalahari themselves. So they're like, well, they've just added an extra room over here, so I guess that's now our 8th event space, so I guess that's event 8. Even though it's, like, as I said, directly on
and event 5 is next to event 2.
Yeah.
Also, event 5 is sometimes combined with events 2 because there's a backsliding door back there.
Yeah. So, yeah. You're going to need the map, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like, they do give you a free paper schedule that has a map on it, which I do appreciate.
I do very much appreciate that. There's also, like, the karaoke room and, stuff like that, which, fun. And the space that the Federation uses. And I do like the Federation. We didn't, unfortunately, go to any other events this year.
Yeah, we probably should have, but I was feeling kind of overwhelmed.
Yeah. We'll talk about them once we get to the, like, stuff we didn't do section, which will be in a while. So, that was basically what we did on Wednesday. We did badge pickup. We wanted the space. We got our con legs.
Yep.
And then we headed back to the Airbnb and dealt with the
we went by Walmart first to get a couple things.
Yeah.
There's a Walmart that's next to the Kalahari that's frequented by them. I was playing the game of count how many people are from here from the con, which is about half the people there.
It was a not insignificant number of people.
Yeah.
But
I will say they were pretty much, like, at least when we were picking up, there was not a line, and they are very good about keeping lines down for
that stuff.
Yeah.
Their Reg team was working. They were doing stuff fast. Because the other thing ConOps was also doing was the 18+ wristbands, which we didn't get at that point. Because we weren't sure if we were going to do any 18+ stuff.
Realistically, we probably were, but also, like, this is the thing is they will ID check you and just give you a wristband the first time you go into a panel, so
which works.
Yeah. I will say their 18+ wristbands are just the paper wristbands. They're not plastic. So if you want to shower, which you should, you're probably going to have to put on multiple wristbands.
Yeah. But again, it's not like they cost anything.
Yeah.
So, if you shower and, your wristbands disintegrates, just go to ConOps and get a new one. It's fine. Yeah, but they are just basic. But they are, they're reasonably identifiable, so they work fine. And again, if you are in the line for an 18+ event, you don't have one, but you do have your ID, the person badge checking has a bunch of the wristbands on them. So they can basically go, yep, you're good. Here's a wristband, puts it on, moves on to the next person. Which I think it's actually a fairly good system. Like, I don't have a significant problem with it. So, went back to the Airbnb, slept, did all of that stuff, ate dinner, then, got up the next morning, and 10 we got to the con the next day. Oh,
stuff started at 12 and we barely made it, so I think we were sleeping in a little bit.
We slept in a little bit. I had to do a little bit of work in the morning.
Yeah.
Because I was basically just taking a half day. Because I'm working from home in the morning. Home in this context, but it was fine. Worked the morning, and then we got on the road to the con, which is like 20 minutes.
So we got there about 12, parked in our preferred parking spot.
Yep.
There's still plenty of spots back there.
Yep.
Walked in. What we're doing? Oh, for costumes that day, we were doing Hades and Persephone.
Yep. Which is our standard go-to. We don't want to put a lot of effort in.
Yep.
You're still in a goddamn ball gown.
I am. It's fantastic.
Yep. I contemplated wearing my corset that day, but again, we were not. Neither of us had the energy to lace me into that morning. Because I have a corset waistcoat now that goes with it. It's very dapper. So that was fun. So Hades and Persephone, it's our standard go-to. It's the big black and pink theme with the flowers. It's great. Somebody recognized it almost immediately.
Nice.
Which I always appreciate.
We gave them a ribbon, which they were very happy about. I think
Yeah,
it was like their first con ribbon or something.
Yep. If you're listening, hi.
Hi.
Thank you. That was a nice way to start the day.
Yeah. And again, it was already bonkers crowded.
Yep.
So we were like running right up to the 12 o'clock start. So we just kind of ducked into the first panel room that we found, which was event 6.
Yep.
And we went to Happy Summer Halloween. This was a group's first ever panel.
Yep.
And it was one of my favorite types of panels, which is we're going to have adults play silly kids games.
Yep.
Like you would do it at... Did the UK have these like for like holidays at school? A lot of the time they would have like quote unquote parties where you would do, instead of classwork, like silly games like bingo or like wrapping people in sheets and stuff like that.
Yeah. We would do that kind of stuff. It wasn't usually like an all-day thing. It was mostly the teacher has run out of like actual material to teach and like needs to fill the time and doesn't want to wheel in the video cart.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was that kind of vibe.
Yeah. Like ours were normally like planned like parents or something, where they would like come in, or a couple parents would come in and like plan like cute little Halloween activities for the kids to do.
Oh yeah, no, we didn't bother with any of that.
Okay.
Bringing joy into schools? What is this nonsense?
Like sometimes I think some schools also did like trick or treat, where you go around to the different classrooms. Were you allowed to wear costumes to school for Halloween?
We would usually do a non-uniform day.
Okay.
Which again, keep in mind, British schools, right away from the start, you are wearing a uniform. Like that uniform is usually just like a jumper and a polo shirt, but it's a uniform.
Yeah, I thought this group was very well put together, especially for the first panel. They had a lot of cute games.
Yep.
So we came in for the first, and it was the traditional mommy wrapping game.
Yep. Here's a roll of toilet paper. Get as much of it onto the other human being in the time limit as you can.
Yeah.
Then they strike a pose, and they declared a winner. What was the second game?
I did that one. It was the try to get a penny from an end of a pantyhose type of game.
Yep.
I'm not really sure if that one was Halloween themed, but it was funny.
It was funny.
I had fun doing it, though. You couldn't do it because you were wearing your bracer for Hades, so I volunteered to do it. I didn't win. Not that winning matters. We all got candy, which is the point. So.
And yeah, free candy is always nice.
Yeah.
As a prize.
I did return the penny, as did everyone else. One person got a nickel.
Yep.
Because they didn't have enough pennies.
Yeah, they ran out of pennies.
But this was very, very fun. And then the last game, which I thought was very well done in terms of just kind of pure role play, was How to Survive a Horror Movie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was going to be like a quiz where like there was a right or wrong answer and people were eliminated. What it wound up being, though, was just basically improv, where they had a list of very funny options about what you should do.
Yep. You're being presented with a movie monster. Should you 1, cower, cry, and
poop?
Require a change of underwear?
Yep. You can just say poop. It's not that bad of a word.
Nope.
Befriend the monster.
Yep. Fight the monster, etc.
What should you do if you've run into Kanye Reeves? 1. Or I think it was, what was it, Mike Myers?
Yeah, it was Mike Myers.
1.
As in the movie monster, not the actor.
Yeah. 1. Walk at a slightly quicker pace.
Yep, walk ever so slightly faster than he does.
Yep. Like, it was very fun, and everyone got to RP as, like, their characters or stuff as they were answering. I wish you were picked for this, but it was very, very fun to watch. And then they just chose a winner, like, at random, I think, based on who did various RP things. Yeah, we also were throwing gold coins, because one of the person was RPing a character that threw gold coins, and they're like, yeah, I bought way too many of these. Everyone just have some.
Yep. Right, sweet, thanks. Yep. And again, these gold coins were, of course, just plastic, but that's fine. Yeah. Like, they were a pro. It was funny.
Yeah, this was just extraordinarily cute. I hope this group does more panels, because this was just so cute. Did you like it?
I had fun.
Yeah.
It was very light, it was very fluffy, it was very silly. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's what you want and need.
Yep.
Yeah. So what was it after that?
After that, we had to check in for cosplay chess, but that was kind of later in the hour mark, so there wasn't really time to go to a full panel during that time slot.
Mm-hmm. We went to go check into for the cosplay improv in-character cosplay contest.
Yep.
Which you need to do at the cosplay information booth.
It's very unclear when the cosplay information booth is open.
Yeah, there is information on it on the second page of the schedule, but it's not blindingly obvious. So
no.
We didn't realize it didn't open until 4.
Okay.
So we just ended up wandering the venue for a bit. Then we went to check in for cosplay chess.
Yeah. So cosplay chess, if you're not familiar with it, is what it sounds like. It's where a bunch of cosplayers play pieces of the chessboard. It's not really meant to be a game of chess that you win or lose. It's mostly getting the pieces to interact and roleplay.
Yeah.
How it's done and how popular it is, it varies a lot between event to event. I will say also it is a very hard event to run.
Yes.
Because you are coordinating 32 people.
Yes. Like, if you have actually got enough cosplayers to beat all the pieces,
Yep.
well done. That was already a goddamn major achievement.
Yes. And I will say it was run by the same person who was running it last year, and I could actively see them improving from last year to this year. Like, they did a better job this year.
Yep.
And they didn't really do a poor job the year before, but they did a better job this year.
Yep.
Which is...
There is still one change that I suggested last year that they still haven't done, though. Which is, one of the things they have is a, like, they pre-prepped the moves in the chess game so that there will be a lot of, like, good so that there will be interactions between pieces.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is rotate the board on your slide by 90 degrees so it actually matches what's on the the plane and the in front of people, so they can look where they're supposed to be, and it's less confusing.
Yeah. They were also better about making sure that, like, I think understood better this year that it's an audience participation panel. You could sign up in advance. Clearly slots weren't filled because I signed up, I think, the day before. I think I signed up that Wednesday and we got in, so it wasn't full. And I think they were planning to pull people from the audience generally, and I think that's the way to do it. Like, with 32 people, even if you get 32 signups, not all of those people are going to actually show up.
Yep.
So pull people from the audience, be flexible, and I thought they did a really good job with that this year.
They did. They also asked if there was a specific piece anybody wanted to be, and since we were being Hades and Persephone, they'd
King and Queen of the Underworld.
Yeah, we were like, well, could we take the Black King and the Black Queen because that feels appropriate? And
they were excited about it.
When I saw your character names turn up, I was kind of hoping you guys would volunteer to do that.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah.
And I also appreciated that they, rather than letting people who just fill out the form claim pieces, let people who are just there first claim pieces, because that's, I think, a more fair way to do it, especially since somebody who's on the form might not show up. And this was like a goal of mine. I've been wanting to play King and Chess when we were the King and Queen for a while, just for cosplay reasons. Like, it's not that I want to be the Queen because the Queen is a powerful piece. I just wanted to role play being King and Queen with you. So I was really excited we got to do that.
Yeah, because we did this a few years back as Oberon and Titania.
Yeah.
And I think we were just pawns that time, or did we end up as just kind of random pieces?
Well, that year they did it. This was also at Colossalcon before this person was running with. That was back when it was run by Jim and Stripper Vash. Who I then realized were spreading themselves too thin and valid. Because we were there were only a couple new pieces in the game. We were originally assigned back row pieces, but then we were told to switch to pawns because they wanted people who had played pawns last game to play other pieces. Which I thought was kind of unfair, but also, it was my first time playing and I didn't really care, so...
And again, the point isn't to actually win the game, it's
not. It's cool character interactions. Another thing I like that they did is before they let people in, they had all of us warm up by practicing pretending to kill each other.
Yeah.
Which I think helped people get a little bit more loose with it. So I really like that as an aspect of it, too.
Yeah, that was a good decision. Yeah, we all got, a little introduction.
Yeah.
They basically, had us come out one at a time, and they didn't specify an order. They basically just said we'd do all the back row pieces first.
Yep.
And, they'd say, next person, please, and then, whichever one of us wanted to go out next could go. You and I deliberately came out together since our cosplay was a matched pair.
Yep.
And we were being the king and queen, so it just kind of made sense to go together.
Yep.
Which I probably should have mentioned to the host we were planning to do, but I didn't really have a chance to. But it worked.
I don't think they cared that much.
No, it worked fine.
So yeah, it was super fun. They did one game of, I think, quote-unquote real chess. They did call up a member from the audience. I do wish they had a little bit more help running the panel. I do feel like they need one or two more people to kind of rope in, just to kind of maintain the chaos a little bit.
Yeah, I think they need a couple of, wranglers.
Yeah.
In addition to the people actually, playing the game of chess.
Which, if you're listening to this and would like help in the future, I'm just going to volunteer us for all the con help at this point, because people from the Anthro Ohio charity have already contacted us.
Yep.
So that said, if you are listening to this and would like help running, I'm 100% serious. We're happy to do wrangling stuff for that, because that's not that much work on our part. My only ask is that we could at least play one game.
Yeah. But yeah. So generally speaking, that was a fun panel. Worked about as well as cosplay chess does, which is, it's a mess.
It's chaotic.
There's kind of no way for it to not be a mess, because again, you are wrangling 32 cosplayers.
Yeah. And I do think it's an event that people tend to enjoy participating in more than it is spectators. There's not ever a lot of spectators in the room.
Yeah.
But
the only downside is there are some pieces you don't get to move a lot.
Yep.
So you do usually end up with a lot of standing around, but there are usually a lot of fun, weird interactions and
And generally, I think because a lot of the games were pre-programmed, a lot of pieces got to have their moments, which was also very fun.
Yeah, they definitely I think the games they'd pre-planned had a lot of good interaction. They definitely took a minute to warm up.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because again, they'd pre-planned multiple games, and during the initial one, somebody was on the wrong script.
Yeah.
Which was causing massive confusion.
Yeah, they pulled up an audience member to basically be the other side pieces and stuff like that. They also did an instant checkmate game on purpose just as a joke, which was funny.
It was funny.
Yep. Oh, look at the dog.
That is a good dog.
So yeah, this was cool. I think they got about 4 or 5 games total. We decided to just watch the last one because we were getting tired of playing and we wanted to give other people a chance to be the king and queen.
Yep.
So, but I got to have a checkmate as the queen, which was amazing in the only like real game that they played.
Yep.
And we got to have fun together, which was very nice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What was the next thing?
Well, we're only 8 minutes away if you want to cut off there.
Put it this way. What was the next thing? We'll figure out if we...
Well, like, I can go through the other stuff because it actually was a bit of a break. So what we did at that point was we kind of wandered around. We did go into the dealer's hall, and randomly we saw Bridget.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Bridget had mentioned to us offhandedly at the last con we were at, or I think actually last week when we were at the TGG tournament, that she and James were going to be at this event and that she might come Thursday. And I think both of us just thought we weren't actually going to be there on Thursday.
Yeah.
Because, like, we both... I don't think we're entirely certain of our plans, so we just ran into her randomly.
Yep.
And then we went through the Dealer's Den, Artist Alley, and the craft fair with her. So
we might as well just kind of briefly talk about that. There's not too much to say about any of those. So Dealer's Den is pretty much exactly what you think it's going to be. You know, it's the standard vendors hall.
Yep.
It's got most of the basic stuff. It's interesting. I know this year Colossalcon had a bunch of sponsors from various like small, like stores and like cosplay craft supplies and places and things like that. Most of whom also had booths here.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the so several of the vendors were also sponsors this year. The Artist Alley was basically the same as it always is. I'll say this: both the vendors hall and the Artist Alley had a decent amount of space between booths. So like at certain times of day they were pretty chocker, but they weren't like ridiculous. The craft fair, on the other hand, so this is held in the events one space, and they definitely overpack this sucker. Yeah. This is basically you get a table and you can just set up whatever you want on it, provided it's stuff you made yourself, and you just sell it. And a lot of people come almost exclusively for this and for the flea market that they do on Sunday. And there's a lot of good stuff, but there are a metric crap ton of people trying to go to this. And I'm going to be honest, at this point, the room you are putting these two things in, not big enough.
Yep.
Like, event one is not big enough for the amount of people who want to sell stuff at this event. And especially not for the number of people who want to go to it and buy stuff. Like, we were definitely in fire safety hazard territory for a not inconsiderable chunk of the flea market, the craft fair's time. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, I'm in a hoop skirt. I realize that's always a risk at a con like this. It's very crowded. You have to be basically picking up the back and all of it all at once. It's hard to look at basically anything. That said, I don't want to buy anything right now because we're in theory buying a house. So,
yep.
But yeah, it's very cramped generally. I do think that there were a lot of cool makers, particularly at the craft fair, so I'm glad that they have them a lot of the time. Because these days, even to get into Artist Alley, you have to be a pretty big maker. So the craft fair is a lot for like smaller people who are doing stuff like crochet or more like limited stuff, which I like a lot. So.
Some artisan plush that we saw and various other bits and bobs.
And in general, anime and fan conventions generally tend to be very anti-AI, which I like a lot.
Yep, I did see at least one, no slop at my shop, poster thing, which was cute. Because again, down with the AI. I know our voices are getting scraped for that, and you can sod right off.
Maybe I should just curse a bunch, even though we're not supposed to. Apple already thinks our podcast is expletive, so the few times I've cursed accidentally, quote unquote, it's picked it up, and it's probably using that to create AI right now, because that's the only way it could know.
So yeah, again, down with the machines.
Up with the humans. This is the thing, it's just, sorry, we shouldn't turn this into an AI rant podcast, but the thing is, like, half the times when people email us, it like summarizes an AI response to like give them back. And it's just like, I want to talk to my friends or people. Like, talking to people is something I enjoy doing. It's not something I want to offshoot to a robot.
There is plenty of stuff we would love to offshoot to the robots. It's just none of the stuff that AI claims to be able to do.
Yep.
So yeah, but yeah. So yeah, generally speaking, this event works, mostly fine. It's just really overcrowded.
Yep.
Like probably dangerously so. The trouble is, short of using short of finding somewhere else to put the main vendors hall, they don't really have an option. You were commenting that it might be worth them moving it outside. The trouble for that is, one, that's very weather dependent.
Yep.
And two, that would probably mean roping off half the car park. And that's a problem. That's a completely different problem. Like, realistically, Colossalcon Prime has completely outgrown the Kalahari, but it can't move because the fact it's at the Kalahari is one of its biggest draws.
Yeah, although it does seem, particularly this year, I'm noticing them trying to grow in very random directions, particularly with cosplay, which we'll talk a little bit more about too.
Yeah.
It does seem like they're trying to make themselves like a more prestigious con in some ways as opposed to a party con, and I'm not sure that that's the right move or even a move that they can necessarily make.
Yeah, it's a very weird decision on somebody's part. It almost feels like somebody in the higher-ups is kind of embarrassed by the con that they are.
Which they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be. It's a great con. People have a lot of fun.
Like, not all cons need to have, like, prestigious levels of cosplay or be professionally run. They can just be fun.
Yep. But yeah, so I think that's probably a reasonable point to pause the episode because we're almost to our friend's house. And after that, we'll kind of resume when we're back on the road and heading to home. So we will see you momentarily.
Bye.
Bye. And we're back.
We're back. We had therapy hours with friends. It was very nice.
Yeah. I got to see their children.
Yes.
Who are, like, because they have two small children, every time we see them, it's like 6 months apart, so the kids have always grown a bunch.
Yep.
But yeah.
They're going to be less small now.
Yep. So, after we wandered around for a bit and, looked in the market and things, what was the next thing we did?
We went to the first annual Colossalcon Spelling Bee.
Ah, yes, the first annual Colossalcon Spelling Bee, which even the panelist admitted is called that, so they'll invite her back again.
I mean, I hope that they do, because this was a fun panel, and was very well attended.
It was.
Yeah, this was interesting. We're sitting outside, like, I will say Colossalcon, to their credit, does just have random benches around, which they need, where people can just sit down, and they're nearly always monopolized by people, so if you see one, you want to take it.
Yep.
So we were sitting down with Bridget, and then we saw people lined up for stuff, and we're like, I wonder what these people are lined up for.
Oh, they're lined up for the event we want to go to. We should probably get in this line.
Yep. And then I was like, we should probably maybe use the ADA access for this. So you went up to go check?
Yep. And I basically said to the person manning the door, hey, is there an ADA line for this one? He just kind of looked at me and says, if you need there to be, there can be. And I said, cool. I'm going to go get my wife, who is the person who has the ADA accessibility needs. And they said, great, we'll just be right here. So I basically went and got you. This was around the point at which we got ID checked. And again, they basically, they were going along the line and just going, hey, do you have an 18 plus wristband to get into this event? We said no. I said, here's our IDs. And they just gave us the wristbands at that point. And they did attach them to us themselves, which they are required to do. They're on a little tight. It's not like uncomfortably tight, but it does mean that I could.
You could probably have taken that off by now, to be fair.
Oh, I could have taken it off. I just wouldn't have been able to get it back on again.
Well, I mean, you could take it off now.
I could. I just haven't got around to it yet.
I took mine off when it disintegrated in the shower.
Yep.
Last night. So.
Yep. But yeah. So.
They checked our IDs. The guy was very good about ADA access.
Yep. As I say, I basically said we needed it, and he said okay. Brought you to the front. He sat you off. He
offered me a chair, which is very nice.
Yep. They said, do you need the chair? And you said, ideally, yes. And you said, okay, there you go.
I will say, generally at cons, I do get a little bit nervous just because my disability is so invisible. I've never had anyone question it or be rude to me, and it means the world to me. Because it's hard when you have an invisible disability. I know having a visible one is not easier, it's just different. But it does mean that you have to advocate a little bit more. But it was very nice.
Because again, a lot of places, when you say disability, they think of a person in a wheelchair, and that's kind of all they plan for. Whereas I do think Colossalcon actually does try to.
And I do appreciate the amount of advocacy that's being done to explain that some disabilities, both physical and non-physical, are invisible. And and that a lot of those disabilities need accommodations. And I would not be asking for this if I didn't need it. So everyone was super nice about it.
They were. Like, I was very happy with kind of how the whole process went generally. So they opened up the room. We saw the panelists going. The panelist was actually walking up and down the queue to get in, offering shots of Malort.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what Malort is, don't Google it. Mm-hmm. You don't want to drink it. It's just awful. I've tried it. It's one of those alcohols that's basically just, here, have this thing that tastes foul. Why would I do this? Because it'll get you drunk. Okay. Cool.
I mean, I thought that was the point of alcohol generally.
Yeah. Some alcohol actually tastes nice. You mostly do that by mixing with fruit juice. Like, here's the thing. Anything that somebody considers a girly drink is usually way stronger than beer, and it's usually way nicer.
Well, that's the thing is, like, it's just like apparently men in standard masculinity are not allowed to have drinks that taste good.
Mm-hmm.
And it just is weird to me.
Yeah, like, no, I adore Cosmopolitans as a drink. They're delicious. Yes, they are bright pink, but they're also incredibly alcoholic. Like the old-fashioned I had one glass of at Bourbon City, like, that was delicious. Like, I could have happily drunk a lot of that from a taste standpoint. From an alcohol standpoint, I had one, and that was quite sufficient.
And the thing that I always wanted, just because they were always on menus when I was a kid, just because they looked good, was strawberry daiquiris.
Mm-hmm. I've had strawberry daiquiris. If they're made right, they're very tasty. Mm-hmm. They're also way stronger than beer.
Yep.
So anybody who calls it a girly drink is just like, you are allowed to enjoy what you put in your body, dude.
You must be manly.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, this event was pretty cool. We got to sit in the front row. Generally with accessibility, they didn't explain it to us this time, but they did last year. You're generally only allowed to take one person in with you. Mm-hmm. I do think this year if we'd asked to take Bridget in with us, they probably would have been fine with it. But like,
we basically said to Bridget if she was okay with it, we'd like save her a seat,
which was fine. She came in the room like 2 minutes later.
Yeah. Like that line, the thing is, for the size of the room, the line actually was fine. Like that room probably ended up maybe half full at the end. It's just because there was no real space for it in that corridor, it ended up like branching off down one of the other corridors in a slightly weird way, which is what we saw. It's just again, it's a limitation of the venue. It was never really designed for massive lines of people. And they haven't really squared that particular circle yet in terms of figuring out how to deal with those lines. They just kind of hodgepodge it and hope for the best. So this event was a blast. Like, we had a lot of fun with this one.
It's basically a spelling competition. They would take 4 to 5 people up around, and then they would have a traditional like spelling bee. Every person would spell a word. The person who spelled all their words correctly got to move on, and they had a finals between the winners of the competition. Except the words were a combination of like actual like fairly a little bit harder words to spell that are just kind of like weird words like alliterative or I think assuasive or something like that, and just weird words from fandom and fan fiction.
Yep.
Which had very weird spellings, and it was very, very silly and fun. The host commented, I love having adults do silly things, and I'm like, I am very much on the panel of getting adults to do silly things. And the reason because it was plus 18 is some of the words were things like clitoris. So
yep,
clitoris was on there.
That was one of the words.
You volunteered for a round. You got
I volunteered for a round.
Which I was not sure if you would know how to spell.
I know how to spell Mississippi. So I got through that one, but as I mentioned earlier, I was dressed as Hades that day. Yeah. The next word I had to spell was Charybdis.
Yeah, you probably should have spelled that correctly.
Yeah, probably, but yeah, I did not. Mm-hmm. Like, who the heck knows how to spell Charybdis? But anyway, that was kind of the joke. Like, a bunch of the words were... and you got candy if you went up and got eliminated.
Yeah, and I think they had a trophy for, like, the person who got, like, the final or something. But it was meant to be very, very cute and silly, and it was fun. And it was popular for a reason. Yeah. It was the exact right amount of stuff. It was fun. Everyone was having fun of it. Everyone was obviously a good sport for everyone who came up and cheered them, regardless of whether or not they got a word right or not. So.
Yep. And again, a lot of fun, very silly, very goofy. Like, it was good vibes.
Yeah, it was very well organized. I thought so also. They were good at getting people up. They got as many people up as they could to play.
Yep.
They had a bunch of different rounds, and they had enough words for everyone. So.
Yeah. Like, they had, I think, at least 10-ish rounds,
Mm-hmm.
each of which was 4 people. So we probably had cycled through like 40 audience members. Like, in terms of people who wanted to participate, I'm pretty, like, I don't think it was everybody who wanted to participate who got to take part, but it was a good percentage of them. And again, you, of course, like, when my word was Mississippi, you had to run up and tell the audience that I'm not American.
Yeah, well, got a laugh, which was what I was aiming for.
And then I proceeded to spell the word easily because, again...
But I had no idea if you knew that or not. Like, I know it's a thing here in America that they, like, have people, like, spell because it is just fun to spell. But I didn't know if it was...
I-S-S-I-S-S-I-P-P-I.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's funny. It's fun to spell, but I didn't know if it would, like, be something that you would spell in a different country.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, again, there were a bunch of weird and interesting words. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, this was just fun. It was silly. It was fun. Like, we didn't really have that much more to say about it.
Yeah.
And memory serves, we stayed in that room after that, didn't we?
Yeah, they did AO3 abominations of their own bad fanfiction panel. I will say this con had, I would say, about 10 different bad fanfiction panels. There were a lot of bad fanfiction panels.
They did have a lot of them, I'm not going to lie.
Like, I can count 3 just on Thursday.
Mm-hmm. And this one was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so the principle of this one was basically just the host was reading bad fanfiction. Mm-hmm. That's fine. We've been to that panel before. We've run one of those panels before.
Yep.
My main issue with this one was the fanfiction they started with took like 25 minutes to read. And you kind of need to be a bit snappier. You know, like, I get the impression they found it, thought, oh, this is weird, and didn't, like, crunch the numbers on how long it was actually going to take, because they didn't realize how long it was.
And most people can't hold an attention span for that long, particularly at a party con. So.
Yeah.
And I was, like, they were good at reading it and stuff like that. I do also tend to prefer these to be a little bit more audience participation-y, either having people, like, act out certain things. And I think if you proofread them a little bit better, you can make them a little bit more interesting. But when you get to, like, a particularly explicit scene, you can have, like, audience members volunteer to act it out. I don't mean the sex parts, I mean the other parts.
Yeah. You know, again, there is nothing wrong with, like, humping the air next to a person, providing they're consenting to that, if you're doing it for comedy. Mm-hmm. You know, which, again, like, I think it was mostly just a case that they probably should have done a little bit more figuring out beforehand exactly what they were going to do. Which was kind of an issue with a few panels we encountered this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, and again, like, the person doing it is actually a great performer.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she's somebody we have seen on stage before at Colossalcons, and, you know, she is very good. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just, she freely admitted she'd already started drinking at that point, and, like, reading bad fan fiction when you're drunk, yeah, that is a lot of fun, but not when it takes as long as that one took.
Yeah. That said, like, I think it was still a fun panel. The main reason, we did leave it early, but the main reason for that was just because they did a fic with a lot of bathroom humor in it, and that's just kind of, I kind of a gag reflex to it a little bit, and I just kind of couldn't handle it.
It was called Dipper Goes to Taco Bell, if you're curious, so you can kind of guess where the second half of this, where the second half of that goes.
Yeah, and I just, it's not my type of thing, so, but again, it was something for which I felt sufficiently warned that I could just leave, which was fine. That's the other thing I would advise for any of these panels if you are running them. Do make sure you're proofreading the fiction ahead, and do put just, like, any type of warnings that are on there, just so people can make their own decisions, because when you're dealing with sexual acts, there could be stuff that relates to people's trauma, and preferring those things would be useful.
Yeah. Well, in this case, bathroom stuff, which not everybody wants to hear.
Yep.
So, yeah, so we kind of tapped out of that one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and again, I think that was a 2-hour panel.
Yeah.
And we tapped out at about the hour mark, and again, they were on the second fic at around the hour mark. So, shorter fics next time, I would suggest.
Well, it was interesting because then we went over to the Nike Is Your Waifu a Failure plus 18 panel, which we got into early, but it had already started.
Yeah.
Which was very weird.
Yeah, they started super early. And this one's kind of on us for not reading the panel description properly.
Yeah.
Like, we thought this was more of a generic waifu panel. This was actually super specific. This was the characters from Nike Goddess of Victory, which is I think it's a third-person action-adventure game where you're, like, controlling quote-unquote Nikes, which they're all hot anime girls. It's a gacha game.
Yep.
Like,
That said, if it's your favorite thing ever, that's valid.
Yeah. But it was very clear that they expected everybody in the room to know exactly who all these characters were, because they basically just had a PowerPoint with a bunch of pictures of these characters on screen. And when I say a bunch, I mean like 4 slides, each of which had like 40 characters on. And then they got people from the audience to shout out which one they wanted to do next. Then they copy and paste them onto the first slide, which had like a Venn diagram of like 6 different archetypes, and then they would basically ask the audience where they think that person goes on on the Venn diagram, and then they would move on and do the next one. So this panel bored the bejesus out of us, because I've not played that game, you've not played that game, neither of us has any particular interest in playing that game, and we knew absolutely nothing about any of the waifus involved.
Yeah, I think we were just doing stuff on our phones for most of this panel.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's fine to go into a panel room to just kind of chill. Most people do that at a con like this, particularly where seating is limited. So I did think it was fun for the people who were enjoying it. They seem to get good audience participation. And I do think there's something worthwhile to just being in a room with people who like the same thing you like, discussing the thing that you like.
Yeah.
So.
Again, it's not really a knock against this panel. It's just it wasn't really our thing.
Yep.
Which we probably would have realized if we'd read the panel description a little better. And we contemplated leaving, but I think we wanted to stay for the next thing that was in the room.
Yeah. And
we were just like, yeah, it's fine. We'll just loiter here for a bit.
I will say you should not start your panels early, though. Don't do that.
Yeah, we arrived slightly before it was due to start, and they were already in full swing.
They already had, ranked, 4 or 5 people by that point.
There was at least 2 or 3 by that point, yeah. And which meant we kind of weren't sure what was going. I thought it was the end of the previous panel. I was like, okay, the panel we're actually here to see will probably start soon. And then it took 10 minutes. So I was like, oh no, I think this is the panel I'm normally here for.
So after that, we stayed for the start of First Draft, a spontaneous fan fiction game show.
Yes. And we were kind of looking forward to this.
Yeah, because I like fan fiction, and there was another one called 5 Minute Fanfics, which we've gone to before, that I've enjoyed. And I generally thought this was going to be a more interactive game show about fanfic writing.
Yes. That was not what it was.
Yeah.
So this was another 2-hour panel. And what it basically turned out was that it started at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
And we basically got told that there'd be 3 teams.
4 teams.
4 teams?
4 teams.
Yeah. Each with about 4 people in.
Yeah.
Who would then have an hour and 15 minutes to write a fanfic.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what does everybody else do in the meantime? And did we ever figure out what everybody else was going to be doing in the meantime?
No, I think we left before that just because I didn't have the patience to, my attention span was just kind of fading at that point. I didn't have the patience to write an hour and 15 minutes. And it's it's one of those things for which they seem to be implying that you were just randomly assigned people to write with. And I did not have the energy to write strangers. That was just kind of that's an intense task to do at the best of times.
Let alone when half the rest of the team was probably going to be drunk.
Yeah, and I didn't know how many people were going to be on the team. They wound up having 4 teams of 2, and if they would have allowed a 5th team that was just you, I might have done it. But I had no idea going into that would have even conceivably been an option.
Yeah,
because it sounded like they just did the teams randomly, and they normally have more people per team generally. So which also wound up working well because they had 4 teams of 2, which I think was a good number. So if we had joined, it would have just thrown everything into chaos. So
yep,
I'm glad we didn't. But yeah, I just didn't want to sit around and watch people write for an hour and 15 minutes. And I wasn't going to have a terrible amount of fun being part of a group where people were writing for an hour and 15 minutes. Because the thing about that is there's going to be one person who takes control. And it's not really fun to not be the person who's in control in that circumstance. And it's also not really that fun to be the person who's in control. So yeah. Between you and I, it would have worked if we were writing together because we've done that before. And we, that's just us doing bits, which we do all the time. But doing it with a stranger is just kind of hard.
Yeah.
So
I think what we were more expecting this to be would be more we'll do game showy stuff where you'll pick a character, and then you'll do some kind of game show thing to face off against each other, and that will give us the primary character, and then 2 other people will do the same thing, and that'll give us the secondary character in the fanfic. And then we'll do something, do some of the kind of I don't know, Price is Right, spin the wheel kind of thing to determine what the scenario is and that kind of stuff, and then as a group we'd write the fan fiction.
Yeah.
which I think that would have been more our vibe.
Yeah. Something like that. Or I was thinking it was like you get two people in the audience like name a various tag and then they have to like find it in AO3 within like a minute or something like that. That would be another version of it that'd be fun.
Yep. Or even something like the game show that we've done at a couple of Furcons that Iggy really likes, where you start off with the phrase, "It was a dark and stormy night," and then everybody in the audience like writes down a suggestion for what the next line should be, and then the winner gets written into the fic, and then you repeat the process, and you steadily create a completely unhinged piece of nonsense together.
Yeah. And yet, both times we've done that panel that Iggy runs, that went completely off the rails. Because one time they put the phrase that I wrote, which is, "It was a dark and stormy night."
That is what I named my child.
Yeah, I wrote that. And then the other one was, "It was a dark and stormy night, and it remained a dark and stormy night."
Yeah.
Which, valid.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, that I think would have been more fun and more what we were looking for at that time period. But, so yeah, did we tap out at that point?
Yeah, I think we did. Lens was also in the room, so I hung out with him in the hallway for a bit.
Yeah. Then just skedaddle back to the Airbnb. Because we knew we were going to have a long day the next day, so we wanted to like get at least some sleep. Yeah,
we did at some point during that actually check in for the cosplay contest.
Yeah, we did. I don't remember exactly when we did that, but again, like that process was at least easy. Insofar as I went to the cosplay information thing, which is also cosplay repair. Not a great combination. Like, I understand the logic of combining those two things, but it does mean if you're just asking a question, you have to stand behind a bunch of people who are trying to fix stuff, which isn't great. But yeah, so I basically said, we need to check in for that. Is this where we do it? And they basically said, no, but you're incredibly close. It's that table literally next to us. I'm like, cool. So I basically went. I told them, I said, we're here to check in for the character cosplay contest. They said, excellent. What are either your names or the names you'll participate, the names of your characters? And I said, okay, we'll be doing that as this and this. And they said, okay, here you are, yep. And you kind of stood back to the side while I did that. And they basically just said, yes, is your scene partner here? And I said, yep, she is, hang on. I just gesticulated you over and they said, okay, cool. Here you go. And they just gave us stickers for the back of our badges that would get us into the quote-unquote green room, which is just, it's events one in this context. Like, they just ask you to turn up an hour beforehand during the setup period. So that was an easy process. Yeah. So again, at that point, back to the Airbnb, crash, get some sleep.
Yep. We tried to get there for 10 the next morning, but we wound up getting there till 11 just because, again, I was tired. So.
Tired and dealing with various bits and bobs. But.
So yeah, we got there around 11. We kind of meandered around for a bit, and then we realized that the Neopets meetup thing that I wanted to go to in the afternoon was on the Villa Lawns, and we had no idea where that was.
Yeah. So we sat down to try and figure it out, and you eventually figured it out by looking at like the photo shoot map.
Yep. Well, I figured the photo shoot map would have a lot of stuff outside, and if it had a lot of stuff outside, there would probably be areas that weren't on the map. Because I will say this con has a lot of particularly unofficial con activities or stuff that are just done by other groups that are outside the venue. In this case, somebody does a Neopets like meetup thing that typically raises money for the Humane Society. That's kind of an unofficially sanctioned event on the Villa Lawns.
Yeah.
So we needed to figure out where that was because there's a lot of outdoor events. So that's when we discovered that their villa is kind of behind the.
Yep, behind the hotel.
Yep.
And these are the villas that take up to like 60 people. I think is theoretically it. And like because I found them on the Kalahari website, but it didn't tell me where they were, which is really annoying. Yeah, so we kind of meandered over there. We're like, okay, yeah, this is probably the space we need to go to. And we took the opportunity kind of on the way back from that particular bit of scouting to walk around the exterior of the outdoor water park, which has just rooms around it. Because we like looking at the weird stuff people hang off their balconies.
Yeah, we probably should also mention what we were wearing.
Oh, yes.
Because we were doing our in-character cosplay contest today, so I was not wearing a ball gown.
You were not.
Which means I'm totally unrecognizable to people.
Yep.
I was wearing a sexy magical girl crunk outfit.
Yep.
And I do mean sexy. I was wearing jazz tights and a leotard and a short skirt that covered my bikini area and pretty much nothing else.
Yep.
I felt self-conscious most of the day. And today really did not help me feel better about feeling self-conscious, although no one said that I like looked bad or anything.
Yeah. Whereas I was wearing a dress.
Yep.
Because I was Yzma from Emperor's New Groove.
And the main reason I'm pointing this out is because I was wearing like very cheap sparkle boots that looked cool, but were a pain to walk outside in. So
Yep.
I remembered that moment very vividly. But people did get the costume and think it was cool.
They did. Again, like, I think I got recognized slightly more than you did, just because, like...
You're more prominent.
Yes, I was more prominent again. I was basically just straight Yzma.
Yep.
Whereas you were, like, an alternative take on Kronk, which is Magical Girl Kronk.
But I had the headband thingy, so...
You did. Yeah, I'm glad you found that, like, headpiece thing on Etsy. That was cute.
Yeah, it's a cool Etsy shop that just make crochet Kronk headpieces for whatever reason. I'm sure they make other stuff, too, but that was just a very specific item that I needed that they made.
Yep.
So, shout out to them.
Yep. And yeah, so, you know, I was in a dress, I had a big, like, boa collar thing on, and a weird headpiece thing.
Yeah.
And I did not have pockets, and I am not used to not having pockets at the con. It's annoying. Yeah, it's my first time wearing a dress to a con, though, which is, it's been on our bucket list for ages as a thing to do, or we've just not had the opportunity, or we hadn't come up with a costume that we thought, like, worked for it. Whereas, like, we've been trying to think what we wanted to do for the in-character contest at Prime for a while, and then we just kind of, like... It says something I think you suggested Yzma and Kronk, and we both instantly knew that by that we meant you playing Kronk and me playing Yzma.
Yeah. Like, I want more of a chance to play in these costumes, I will say. But I also want a chance to actually feel comfortable in this costume, which I really didn't get comfortable in it today, or that day. And we'll talk more about that.
But yeah.
So yeah, we wandered around and we looked at the banners and stuff, which was very fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird and interesting ones. Like, I think my personal favorite was just the banner with a picture of Queen Elizabeth II that read, "It's not gay to kiss your homies goodnight."
Yeah.
Queen Elizabeth II, and I'm like, I'm not convinced she ever said that.
Oh, there's one thing we forgot to mention that we did the previous day, which was outside of cosplay chest. We trinket traded with a giant Furby.
We did. Yeah, we mentioned trinket trading a bit, but yes. There was a guy in a giant Furby costume who was just trading stuff.
Yep.
It was adorable.
So we traded the 2 gold coins we got from the Happy Summer Ween panel to gain a little miniature bee duck. Yep.
I'm not going to remember all the trades we did this weekend. We did a bunch of weird ones.
Most of them are just very silly things that are like really easy to acquire. Like, I appreciate as somebody who was involved in like Neopet trading, for if those in the know, you know. And by involved, I mean I watch people trade Neopets. I never really did it myself because in Neopets, everyone's just trying to trade for a better Neopet, which makes trading functionally impossible because no one's going to take a trade for anything that's even equal value to what they're doing. Trading anything has thus then far made me nervous. But like, trinket trading is mostly just about moving around silly little items, which I think is fun.
Yep.
And I also appreciated that a lot of the trinket trading at this con was just done kind of anonymously. It was just like take something, leave something, which was fun. I liked it.
Yeah. Sorry, you're talking about like trading up reminded me of the... there's one YouTube channel that like wanted to see if it was possible through Warhammer trading to get from a goblin that cost 10 cents up to a Warlord Titan, which is the largest like model Games Workshop sells. And they did manage it. It took them like 2 years, but they did manage it just through trading. Now they had the advantage of being a famous YouTube channel, so you know.
Get in the other lane for someone else yells at us.
But yeah, so like. There are people who could enjoy that kind of stuff. Generally speaking, I would rather trade stupid for stupid.
Yeah, that's mostly what I want to do. Like, I don't want to like up-trade a bunch of stuff. I just want to kind of find little trinkets that I like and trade them for other trinkets that I think other people might like.
Yep. But yeah. So yeah, so we did that with the Furby, and then where were we at before you got distracted talking about the Furby?
We were looking at stuff outside.
Ah, yes. So again, like there were a bunch of weird banners, like a bunch of pride flags, like just a lot of weird and fun stuff that people hang off their their balconies, and it's just fun to walk around and see all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's one of our favorite activities about this con.
It's very unique to this con. It's very fun to see, and it's realistically only something you can do in the daytime because nighttime it's just all parties. So.
Yep. And again, like it's also not a thing a lot of hotels will actually let you do. Like, even like the sticker boards and stuff that people stick on their doors of their hotel rooms. A lot of hotels will not let you do that.
Yep.
They just won't. Whereas the Kalahari's attitude is basically, yeah, as long as you don't stick it with anything that's going to damage the door, you're fine. Like a bit of blue tack to attach it to the door, job done. It'll come off easy. Won't leave any residue, and that's you guys have fun. Like there was one door that had like a bunch of silver wrapping paper attached to it, such that it basically turned into a mirror. That was cool. Yeah.
But we saw that one way later than that.
I know we did, but like, my point is that like, you see a lot of weird and interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So what was next?
Next we went to the ribbon meetup.
Ah, yes.
Which was kind of not actually, it was confusing.
Yeah, so I freely admit, like, the ribbon meetups this year were kind of weird.
Yeah. So the Colossalcon is very big into the ribbon game generally. Like, a lot of people will just be giving out ribbons or trading ribbons with each other, or just having fun with ribbons. Like, the ribbon game works in several different ways. Like, one, you can, like, just trade with ribbons for somebody else who has ribbons, and they'll typically just trade you their ribbon for your ribbon, which is very nice. Sometimes ribbons will come with particular quests where people like get a ribbon and then make you do something silly to earn it. A lot of the time, mostly that's just answering a fairly easy trivia fact, or like maybe doing a dance or showing them something interesting.
Yep. Or like answering questions, or like there's a bunch of different things you can do to like earn a bunch of different ribbons. Like I think it was last year.
Yeah.
They had like this cosplay group who were all cosplaying as the 7 Dragon Balls.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to like go around and find each of them and like get something from each of them. Or you could get a ribbon from each of them, and when you got the last one, you got like a special bonus ribbon for collecting the full set. That they got screwed over on because one of their group was ill.
Yeah.
So you only could get 6 of those ribbons, but like they did tell everybody, you won't get that 7th ribbon, but you will still get the bonus one for completing the set because our friend isn't here.
Yeah.
So like that was cool.
Yeah, I know they have some pay-to-play ribbons that you can go on like quests for the con to like earn and things like that, and they have a booth that you can like go to get ribbon quests.
Yeah.
I tend to not be as involved in the ribbon game. I don't mind doing it casually, but it takes up a lot of con time, and I will admit, compared to scavenger hunts, it just tends to be a little bit more amorphous and a little bit less organized, so I don't tend to like it quite as much.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
But I did have fun at this, at least in theory. So we were like outside on the lawn. It was near a photo shoot. Somebody asked if we were going to be at the Disney photo shoot later. We didn't wind up doing that. Photo shoots tend to be kind of hit and miss for us. We don't tend to do a lot of them.
Yeah.
Or because both of us were very bad at taking photos.
Yeah, well, we are the kind of people who like, the second you tell us you're taking a photo, we're like, okay, what do I do with my face? What do I do with my, oh God. Why do my arms feel weird? Mm-hmm. So like, we've had our photos taken by professionals a few times, and they're usually very good at posing us.
Yeah, and I will say, like, I do feel very fortunate insofar as I know a lot of people have to pay for photographs. I mostly just get photographs given to me based on the costumes I wear, which is very nice of photographers. Yeah. So, like, all my favorite ones that we've gotten from cons have been from photographers who've just randomly done a photo shoot with me for free.
Yep.
That said, they've all done them in public spaces, not in private, like, event spaces. I know that's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just like, hey, do you mind if I take some pictures of you?
Yeah.
Like, here's a good spot over here.
Yeah.
It's in public. I am not like trying to lure you back to a hotel room.
Yeah. I remember still remember the candy script we did at Concoction where they had us like throwing candy in the air.
Yep.
It was very fun. Did you miss the turn again?
Yes, it's fine. I'm pretty sure I missed this turn last time as well.
Yeah, you did.
It's fine. It adds 5 minutes to the journey, which is just extra time to record the podcast.
Uh-huh. So yeah, the photo shoot was finishing up. We didn't go to the Disney photo shoot. Then they started the unofficial ribbon. It was confusing. So
it was on the schedule.
It was on the schedule. And we started like kind of awkwardly standing there, and then some very nice people approached us to trade ribbons, and we were having fun. Mm-hmm. And talking a little bit about that. I really do like how when you do the ribbon game, everyone compliments your ribbon. Which I do appreciate them doing that, because I will admit our ribbon is not good.
What's wrong with it?
It's a promotional ribbon for our podcast. It's not as cool as like the mean ribbons. It's just kind of they like the rainbow color, which is nice.
Yeah.
we should probably work at complimenting other people's ribbons more.
Oh, there were some really pretty ones.
Yeah.
Like, some really cute ones, some much weird ones.
Yeah.
Like,
And some people have a bunch, and like you can only trade one ribbon for a ribbon, but they will let you pick the one you want, which is very fun. And even though we only had one ribbon to trade, since there were 2 of us, most people let us take 2 ribbons since there were 2 of us, which was very sweet of them.
It was.
We could have traded some of the, like, secret ribbons, but we don't trade those.
We don't trade
for our
those.
super fans. Yeah. So then we got a few, like, trades into this. And then somebody came out and announced that this wasn't actually the ribbon meetup, and we were confused.
Yeah, we were very confused by that, because
also,
that's where the schedule said it was.
Yeah. Also, by the way, if the person who runs the ribbon meetups is listening to this, your style is amazing, and I just love your kawaii everything. Like, I remember you from last year because you were running it too. I love your style; it's so cute.
Yep.
But that said, this was confusing.
Yes. Yeah, like I'm not sure what was going on there.
Yeah.
Because they basically said like the ribbon meetups had been moved into the games room, which don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, leave the board gaming space for board gaming stuff and do the like. I'm gonna be honest. At this point, just have the ribbon game. Just give it its own little room.
Yeah.
Like, in all honesty, based on how full the karaoke room was during the daytime karaoke hours, change that into the ribbon meetup space during light hours, and then when it gets dark and everybody's drunk enough to enjoy karaoke, have it be the karaoke room then.
Yeah.
Like, would be my recommendation. But yeah. So yeah, it was kind of confusing, but yeah, we had fun trading some ribbons back and forth.
Yeah, it was cute. Like, my social battery I was still dealing with a lot of family stuff at this point, so I was pretty low. I managed to do a little bit, but like, I was kind of relying on you a little bit more to be social at this point.
Yeah. But yeah. So, again, we talked to a few people, we swapped some stuff, got some cute ribbons. If I ever get around to building you that ribbon ball gown we want to make, they'll be included.
Yep.
We're a long way off, like, having enough ribbons to actually do that. Like, I did see a really cool ribbon cape at one point today.
Oh yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah. The person was live streaming in the middle of a very busy room, which annoyed the Jesus out of me, but their cape was cool.
Yeah, I will say at a con that has this level of foot traffic, rules I want to implement is just no being on your phone while you are walking. Just, unless it's some, like, actual emergency, do not be looking at your phone, recording, or texting while you are walking. It is a safety hazard.
Yeah. You need to check a map, that's fine, but don't do any of the stuff that requires you to stare at your phone.
Every time we looked at the map or anything for the con, we always made sure to get out of the traffic stream and onto the side.
Yep.
Do not do it in the middle of a traffic stream. As a PSA.
Yep. But yeah. So that was, again. But yeah, so the ribbon meetup again was fine. It was just kind of weird that staff came out and was like, hey, the meetup's been moved. And I'm like, okay.
Well, I think some of the staff do have official ribbons, and I think that might have been when they were giving those official ribbons out, and this could have been more unofficial. That said, I do feel like it works better outside as an event. There were quite a few events inside at this con that actually feel like could have been outdoor events, maybe with just like a TBA rain location. Like, maybe keep the ribbon game outside and then have the board game room be the TBA location if it's like pouring rain or something.
Yeah, that might have worked a bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah. So again, like, we hung out there for what, like half an hour or so?
Yeah.
And at that point, was that when we headed over to the Neopets thing?
No, first we did the walk around to different floors thing. We did that. Basically did like one corridor and we went up, I think, like all 6 floors and looked at the various decorations on it. Yeah,
specifically the Sands corridor, in case you're curious. We basically just walked along the floor, went up a level, walked along that floor, rinse, repeat.
That was somewhere we saw something that was actually on the Colossalcon Facebook group where somebody was asking, hey, my kid likes those door decorations, but I don't want anything appropriate to be on them. What should I do?
Yep. And the advice they got given on Facebook was basically, write very clearly on the the piece of paper that you stick on the door that there is a kid in the room.
Yep.
And you would like to keep everything like age appropriate.
Yep.
And people seem to respect that.
Yeah,
like
everything we saw when we looked at that door was completely age appropriate.
Now, stuff we saw at other doors,
not age appropriate.
Not so much, but again, that's fine.
If your kid's too young to read, you should be fine.
Yep.
And I still do think during the day, a really cool thing you could do with kids is just take them around to the different floors so they could trade trinkets. You could give them like their own little trinkets or something like that, like a make or trade. And I think like for a kid of a certain age, that would be very, very fun.
Yeah, especially as like some people just like leave out boxes of lollipops and stuff. Like I took one.
Yeah.
Because again, that's just kind of fun.
And we trinket traded a bunch as we were going up the floors. I do think next year if we go back, I'm probably going to bring our own trinkets just so we can have like special trinkets we can just trade with other people.
Yep. Rather than just like the random stuff that happen to be in the con bag.
Because again, if I don't have to trade face to face with people who are going to potentially say no to me and I can just make trades that I think are fair, then I'm pretty happy. And yes, I'm trading actual things. I'm not putting like, condoms in there or random food wrappers, which I did see a couple times.
Yeah.
Empty bottles of vodka.
Yeah. It's fine.
It's fine. It's also when we started looking into people's rooms just casually as we were going by, and all of them were already in complete disarray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, that was fun, and we knew that like the Sands corridor was where we needed to go in order to get to the Neopets meetup, which is why we like picked that as the area to explore. Again, it's just kind of fun to walk up and down and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And again, like, during our exploration this weekend, we did actually find at least one section of the hotel we think probably would be okay for us to sleep in. It's just the problem is you have no idea what section you're going to get.
Getting a room at all is next to impossible, much less one that's actually functional.
Yeah.
Plus, realistically, like, these rooms are just out of our budget. Like, they're not practical unless we're sharing with a lot of people, and we just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And you're not going to sleep there. Like, most of these rooms aren't a place to sleep. They're a place to camp.
You're supposed to store your stuff and, like,
use the bathroom.
Use the bathroom.
And that's about it.
Change costumes. That's about it.
And let your friends crash at, like, the 3 a.m. period.
Yeah.
But no one's sleeping.
Again, you might be passed out. I'm not convinced I would call it sleeping. It's probably the best way to describe it.
So at that point, we head over to the Neopet stuff.
Yep.
So I knew this was going to be happening because I saw it on the Facebook post for it. It was unofficial, so it wasn't listed anywhere outside of Facebook. But effectively, it is, weirdly, I think this was officially Neopets sanctioned because they were giving out Neopets, if you're not familiar, is a virtual pets website that was popular among millennials and no one now uses except for millennials trying to be nostalgic. But I still play occasionally.
Yep.
So I saw they were giving away pets, and I had my eye on the picture of this beautiful little starry snow bunny, and I knew that was the one I wanted.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Like, I picked that out as my favorite beforehand. And then I got there, and somebody had already bought or was in the process of buying the regular snow bunny, and the starry snow bunny was still there. So I snuck around, and I got it, and I picked it up, and we are trying to budget, but one, this was special, it was handmade, and something I couldn't get anywhere else, and B, it was for charity.
Yeah.
So, like, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah. And again, it wasn't super expensive. It was like $30.
And they also had, like, these cute, we didn't do this because I'm a little bit less into this, but these cute little adoption certificates you could fill out and stuff. It was very cute. And how it basically worked is you scanned a QR code, showed that you had donated that amount to the charity, and then they gave you the thing.
Yep. Nice and simple and straightforward.
Yeah. They also accepted, like, cash tips for their work. Valid, given that they're doing this for charity, and I would have done that, but we do not have any cash on us right now.
Yeah. Because again, for one thing, the Kalahari itself has gone completely cashless.
Yeah. And then they had a few other events that were also related to Neopets that I think were mostly like fan-made. So in addition to that, you could do the alien vending machine. These are not going to make sense for anyone who has not played this game, but the alien vending machine 99% of the time gives you out gross foods for the Neopets website, and like 1% of the time gives you rare items. So to simulate that, they had a couple like rare flashy things on the table, and they also had like bamboozled jelly beans to simulate gross foods.
Oh, is that the reason for that? Okay.
And gross foods are way more common, so we both got gross foods, and I gave you the jelly beans, but it was fun.
Yep.
And I'm trying to remember do you remember what the station that was under the tent was doing? Because we went to that one first.
No. I feel like we might have got like a little mini something there.
Yeah. If they had Grundo's Warehouse, where there was a line for this one, just because I think you were getting multiple prizes from this one, where you rolled a machine and got a number of prizes. The real thing that everyone wanted was the virtual pets code, so everyone took that, and they they made it so they were placed in the bag every time, so everyone only got one, which was fine. But I also got a rainbow fan from there that was very cool.
Yep.
Like, some people took time picking out the prizes. I was just like, ooh, squishy is a fan. Those are all good prizes.
Yeah, I think you rolled a 6.
Yeah.
And I think it was, you were getting between 3 and 7, if memory serves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they had a little, one of those bingo machines.
Yeah. And then they also had a trading post, similar to how they have a trading post on Neopets, that was similar to trinket trading, except it had much more random items on it.
Yeah.
Like, there was, I think, a Wii video game on there. There was a VHS, I think, of Teletubbies.
It was a VHS or something. I don't remember if it was
I think it was
Teletubbies.
like some weird broken crock pot towards the back.
Yeah, that was just a bunch of bizarre stuff.
Yeah.
What was it you got?
I got a set of Kanto badges.
Ah, yeah, you did.
They were, like, painted and, like, stuck to this thing.
Yeah.
They were kind of cute. I thought they were cool.
They were cute.
And we traded the grammar book we won from Ohio the week before. Hopefully somebody likes that.
Yep.
Since it was a bigger prize table, I figured we'd give away something bigger. And also, like, because you were wearing the Yzma costume, like, the bag was digging into your shoulders way more.
Yeah, I was starting to be uncomfortable because, at least in part, the bag was slightly heavier than usual because it had a bit more stuff in than usual. I didn't have anything to protect my shoulders, so it was starting to dig in. And just normally at a convention, we do a lot more sitting than that. Like, we'd basically been on our feet for the past, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because we'd just been, exploring and looking around and, meeting people outside. So, yeah, the bag was getting uncomfortable at that point. In a way that doesn't normally bother me.
Yeah.
And I think I did catch the sun slightly.
Yeah. Like, it was very bright out that day.
Yeah. But, yeah.
So we stayed there for about a half an hour, I think.
Sounds about right.
I was happy to get my little starry bunny.
Yep.
And I was happy I got the one I wanted, so. And all the snow bunnies went quick. The regular one, the island one, and the starry one all went within 5 minutes of each other.
I get that cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if memory serves, at that point, we kind of went back inside, found a place to sit down, and then figured out what our game plan was for the next couple of hours. So we knew we had to be in events 1 at 4 o'clock. This was between 1:30 and 2. So we're okay, what do we do for the next 2 hours?
Yeah, and I think we decided to basically stay in the games room or tabletop room for a bit, which meant we caught the actual weird ribbon game trading panel.
Yes, we did. It was just weird.
Yeah.
Kind of weird that it was in there. We also did hilariously see Linz, who did not recognize us because you did not have your usual silhouette on.
Yeah. Because they are very into ribbon game.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they had at least a little bit of fun with trading.
Oh, yeah. And again, a lot of people are very into the ribbon game.
And this marked the start of very bizarre tabletop room etiquette.
Yeah.
So it's unclear because a lot of the tables did have labels on them indicating they were reserved for various things, but nobody who was sitting at them seemed to be doing those various tasks at any point during the weekend.
Yeah, I know there was supposed to be a card game tournament at some point.
Yeah.
In one of the rooms, but didn't see that, and I don't actually know what time it was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so
we should probably talk about game checkout before we did that because it's actually very open here.
Yeah, it's very, very open. It's basically a case of they had just a bunch of board games against one wall in the back room, and if you wanted it, grab it, return it when you were done.
Yep, super chill.
Yep.
Which I actually do appreciate.
Yeah, I generally prefer that over handing over your badge or your ID or whatever. It's just that always ends up feeling a bit much.
Yeah, I do get it. Somebody could steal it, but also that person's a horrible person. So yeah.
Generally speaking, most people are decent about that.
Yeah. Well, no one wants to be the person who ruins it for everyone.
Yep.
So yeah, they had the ribbon game in the room while we were playing games, though not near the tables. And I think the person who was running the ribbon game was trying to clear the room out more, and just no one was listening.
Yeah, nobody cared.
Yep. So there's just ribbon game trading happening while people were also just playing tabletop games.
Yeah. Which sort of worked, but again, I feel like the ribbon game just kind of needed its own space.
Yeah. And also because it wasn't on the schedule anywhere, it was kind of hard to take people seriously with it. if it had been on the schedule and indicated on the schedule as this thing, I think people might have been a little bit more aware of it and respectful of it. But because it wasn't, everyone was mostly just kind of confused.
Yeah.
So.
Which again, I definitely think there are things they could do to kind of smooth that out a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah. So was it the full 2 hours we kind of hung out there, or did we do something at the 3 o'clock mark? I feel like we went to a panel.
3 o'clock mark went to Pokedex trivia.
Ah, yes.
So, but before we did that, the first, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so we were sitting at one of the tables playing whatever game it was.
Yeah, and keep in mind with my accessibility, generally, my rule of sharing tables is 1, ask.
Yep.
2, I do need an extra seat, like, on my side to feel safe and secure.
Yeah.
So generally, most of these tables could sit 6 people. So if 2 people came up to play a game on the other end of the table, I would have been fine with that.
Yep.
I would not be fine with people playing games in all 4 of the seats.
Yep. So, like, a group came up and said, hey, can we take all these chairs? And I'm like, afraid not, sorry. And I'm like, okay. They went and did it somewhere else. It's fine.
And keep in mind, I do want to emphasize that during all of this, there were definitely other tables in the room that were empty.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, then 2 people came up to the table and were like, hey, can we go grab these? And I was like, yeah, sure, if you take the end seats. They're like, cool. And then 2 more mysterious people, like, kind of appeared out of nowhere, and then they took all 4 seats.
Yeah.
I, like, kind of crowded into our space a bit.
Yeah.
And we were just like, well, okay. I guess we're just leaving now because this has suddenly become very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm not going to tell them to leave because I can't, because that's just socially awkward.
Well, it's also just one of those things for which this happened multiple times. We'll talk about it when it happened the second time. Mm-hmm. Both times when it happened, there were straight up round tables with one person sitting at them who I'm 99% certain was not saving a seat for anyone they could have played on that have plenty of room. It's just people don't tend to like to play at round tables as much as they do
across from each other.
Yeah. Which I do get.
Especially if it's a card game.
Yeah. Which I do get that, but if somebody's already at the table, you need to be respectful of the space. I'm happy with sharing it with some people, but I'm not happy sharing a table with 4 people. And, like, for me, it is a legitimate accessibility issue.
Yeah.
And, like, you need to be honest about that fact. And maybe we should be more blatant of just, like, you can only take the 2 seats on the end because of my wife's accessibility issues.
Yep. But, yeah, again.
So we just kind of left at that point.
Yep. Yeah.
And then we went to Pokedex Trivia.
Yep.
This was, you're just going to have to do this one.
You mean because you can't, like, criticize it too much?
Yeah, well.
So this panel wasn't great.
Yeah. It was very popular because it has Pokemon in the title, but the room, we left at the hour mark. Most of the room had cleared by that point.
Yeah, and it was another one that was ready for 2 hours. But, like, there were a few problems with this panel. So, it was called Pokedex Trivia, and they were doing it Jeopardy style. Fine. But yeah, and each like column was a different like era or generation of Pokemon. So it was like first gen, 3rd gen, 5th gen, 7th gen, with the 5 categories effectively. And they did it based on like, you know, they said Johto and then whatever the other region's called, I always forget. But you know, like so they were doing it Jeopardy style, but it was just like question goes up on the board, anybody from the audience can answer. But one, they weren't reading the questions aloud, which meant anybody who was more than like 3 or 4 rows back couldn't read the question terribly well.
Because the projector in this room is like okay, but it's a fairly long room, so if you're in the back, it's just going to be hard to see.
Yeah. You know,
they weren't saying the answers into the microphone when people said them, so people guessed the same answer 6 times because no one could hear them.
Yep. And like, despite the fact this was Jeopardy style, like basically every question was the same. It was just, what, you know, here's a factoid from the Pokedex, identify the Pokemon. Fine, it was called Pokedex Trivia. But they then just had the name of the Pokemon come up on screen and like, include a picture.
Yeah. Because if you include a picture, you can be like, okay, that makes sense with that entry.
Yep.
Because, like, most people, I know there's some Pokemon fans who actually do know the 1,000 or so Pokemon they have currently, but I feel like the casual Pokemon fan probably can't actually name all, like, 1,000-ish Pokemon. Yeah. So having pictures would help.
Yep. And again, they just, like, worked their way across the board, so they did, like, all the 100 questions, then all the 200 questions, and all the 300 questions, and so on and so forth, which again, it is fine, but it like, I don't know, it lacks a certain. It's fun to pick your own categories. But again, because once again, they were using Google Slides instead of the free website you use for Jeopardy. It doesn't remove the question from the available list after you've clicked on it.
Yep.
Which means you've got to keep track somehow. So they just did the simplest, we'll do everything in order option. And then after they used up the first board, they realized they hadn't got the links to the other boards, so then they had to use a phone and read them out. And I'm gonna be honest, you seem like a perfectly nice person. You don't have a great presenter voice, which means even using the microphone,
is something you can work on.
It is, but even using the microphone, anybody more than a few rows back couldn't really tell what the question was. But that a bit of issue throughout the entire panel. So yeah. We left halfway through this, and the room had gone from basically full to maybe a third of the people left. So yeah, it wasn't a great panel.
Yep.
I'm not sure given that the person didn't actually have the slides on their own computer, or and they needed to get links. I'm not sure if they were originally supposed to be running this panel, if they got roped into it at the last minute by a friend who couldn't make it or something.
I don't know. It might just be that they had to have links. Google Slide doesn't let you download. I really don't know.
But normally, if it's on your own Google Drive, you should be able to access it. But
yeah, this is definitely something that needed a few more pass-throughs, whatever it was.
Yeah. Again, I do think there is a fun game show in guess the Pokemon based on a weird bit of trivia from the Pokedex. That's a solid concept. There's a reason why so many people wanted to go to it. It's just this one needs some refinement. So yeah, and at that point, I think was when we headed for the improv prep.
Yep, you have to be there an hour early.
Yep. So we basically ran back to the car to grab our props, because there was no point in me carrying around the props all day. And I'm glad I didn't, given that my shoulders were not appreciating carrying the con bag all day that day, just because again I had bare shoulders.
Yep.
You doing okay?
Again, this is not going to be fun for me to talk about, but
that's fair.
I did tell you I wanted you to take the lead on this one,
and I will.
Yeah. So. And before I get into this, I do want to emphasize that my emotions are really not about winning or losing. People in the contest have pointed out, this isn't about winning or losing, it's about having fun, and this is 100% about that. It's just because of how the contest is structured. If you get out early, you don't get to do as much, and that's the part I'm sad about. Not winning or not winning, it's the fact that I don't get to perform as much, and I worked really hard and wanted to perform more. And also a little bit that because of the other emotional stuff that was going on, stuff hit harder. I'll talk about that a little bit more later.
Yeah. So basically we kind of got they want you ideally there at 4:00.
Yeah.
Realistically, as long as you're there anywhere between 4 and 4:15, you'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, so we got there I don't know, 5 minutes after 4.
Yeah.
The concert that was in Events 1 prior to that hadn't quite finished. They'd overrun their time a bit, which again isn't particularly unusual. So they were basically marshalling us outside and getting us into our order.
Yeah, I will say the person who was organizing this is definitely an elementary school teacher, which is not bad, but I will say I personally am just somebody who doesn't enjoy being talked to in the way that people talk to elementary school children when they're trying to organize them.
Yeah, there was a certain amount of the old 1, 2, 3 eyes on me.
Yeah, and I'm just I'm an adult, please stop doing this.
Yeah. I understand the logic, and
I understand that it's hard to turn that part of your brain off, and this person wasn't harming anyone by doing it. It's just one of those things that is a personal pet peeve of mine that's not really anyone's fault.
Yeah. But yeah, so they basically were just kind of marshalling us outside in a line, and they said they'd lead us in once the concert ended fully, which is fine. So of course, because you signed up you really wanted to do this year.
Yeah.
So you'd basically just been stalking the feeds to know that when submissions were open. So you submitted basically the first second you could.
Yeah.
Which meant we were first.
Yeah, which I was not thrilled about. I really do think you should just randomize the order, because it's a little bit unfair to the people who sign up early, because being in the first slot is just a straight up disadvantage, and it was a disadvantage for us last year too, because we were in one of the earlier slots and we were the first slot to get through, which meant for each round we had less prep time than every other group, and that was kind of unfair.
Yeah. I'd suggest randomizing the order once the event is full. But again, so we were first. So we were at the front of the line. They were basically just kind of organizing us, based on that.
Yep.
And then they basically said, okay, cool. Once everybody had cleared out, they're like, okay, we'll all go in and we'll sit you down up front and we'll go do the prep chat. And we kind of knew all the prep chat stuff because, again, we've done this contest before, and they do always say, okay, who's done this before, who hasn't?
Yeah.
Who hasn't done, who's done it before but not for a while?
Yeah. And it's very much Lyris Theater Kid energy because everyone's trying to get into the character and do their bits and stuff like that.
And everybody's talking to each other and psyching each other up. I do want to emphasize, I adore the people who take part in this event because the camaraderie backstage is so good. We had several people who remembered us from our Barbenheimer routine last year, telling us how much they loved that routine, and they were really excited to see what we were doing this time. And there were several people who we recognized from last year, and we were complimenting each other back, and the vibes were so good. Everybody loves doing it because it's so fun and so stupid and so silly. And you can tell how much the hosts love this event. They were like, okay, here's how it's going to work, and they gave us the run through. And I'll just briefly go through how it works. So you start with about 20 entries. I think they had 22 this year because they always get a few. I think they take 20 entries, and then I think they take 5 wait lists. And generally speaking, at least a couple of people won't turn up, so it's not at all uncommon for, if you're waitlisted, turn up. There's a very good chance you're going to get to do it, because if they've only got 2 people left on the wait list, they'll fit you in.
Yep.
And then, so you then basically get to, generally speaking, they'll say about 30 to 45 seconds, or they'll sometimes give you the full minute. This time they gave everybody the full minute and basically said, okay, you have that time to do basically whatever you want on stage. Be in character, talk to the audience, have a prepared speech, whatever you want to do. It's an improv show. There are no rules. Have fun. Go nuts. Go crazy. Do stupid stuff. After round 1, when everybody's done that, they cut the field in half. And
keep going, yeah.
And 10 people or 10 groups, because you are allowed to participate as groups if you want. Do you know, are you limited to pairs, or are you allowed larger groups?
I think you can do as many people as you want. I've never heard it. It is just one form. It does imply on the form that it's just one person, but we've seen groups of 3 before.
Yeah, and we always do it as a couple.
Yeah.
Which again is we weren't the only couple. It's not at all uncommon, so that's fine. So you get 10 groups go through. Then they do. The last couple of years, they do round 2 as an audience Q&A. So members of the audience are asked to come up.
Okay, you're gonna have to go through this faster.
Okay, going through this faster. So members of the audience come up. They talk about they ask questions. You answer in character. They cut the field in half again after that, and then the last round is a slightly longer form improv where you get an assistant who you basically pick out the audience.
Yeah.
And that's the 3rd round. And then they announce, first, second, and 3rd place. So that's the basic format. We kind of knew all that. None of that was surprising news. So they then marshal us backstage, start bringing all the audience in, and then we went up one at a time and we did it. So we did our routine as Yzma and Kronk. Specifically, gender bend Yzma and Kronk, and that was part of the routine. And then we went off. And again, being first sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Because you've got to be the ones to warm the audience up. And I do want to say, the hosts do actually warm the audience up. There's a good solid, couple of minutes of banter beforehand to get the audience warmed up a bit before the first act, which I do kind of appreciate, because the hosts are actually very good at their jobs. I will say that. But being the first act is rough. It is not fun. Like, you've got all that pressure of being the first act and knowing you have to be good. But I was very happy with how our routine went.
I have no idea how routine went, but yeah.
But yeah, like, I think we did a great job. We got a really good audience reaction. We went off. Next person goes on, and then we like sit backstage through 20 more acts. And like, again, I want to emphasize how damn good the camaraderie was with almost everybody back then. One particular person was being a dick backstage. I'm not going to call them out specifically. All I will say is there was one guy whose energy we did not like, did not appreciate, and like, maybe he was just nervous, but don't be a dick, dude. But yeah, so we then get up to the point where they announce the winners, or the people who are moving through to round 2, and our name isn't called. But here's the weird part. One of the things the hosts do to vamp between, like, the actual, like, end of the final act and the judges like, handing them a list of the people who are moving forward, is they ask the crowd, who was your favorite? Literally, the first thing that happens is somebody screams Yzma and Kronk. Multiple people.
I heard multiple people say it at once. Like, I don't think they were probably a friends group, and they must have been fairly near our section of the audience. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, and we heard from people who were sat further back that several other people, like, said that. So we were feeling pretty good. Like, we were like, okay, I think we've got we were in with a pretty good chance. But yeah, like, our names did not get called.
And I was afraid this was going to happen. Like, it was the thing that I was worried about generally, because of, like, the stuff with my family that was going on. Feeling like I wasn't good enough or adequate enough at something was a really big trigger for me. Particularly since when we've done this before, we've at least gotten to the second round, and that's always our goal. And generally, like, it stung a lot, and I want to emphasize the reason it stung is not because we didn't win. I really don't care about winning. I recognize it as a very silly competition. I just want to perform for longer.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I'm sad that I didn't get to perform for longer because we had more prepared.
Yeah.
That's what I'm sad about.
Like, we actually prepared props for the second round. With some really fun, like, ideas and concepts that, we did not get to use.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And it also relates to this dumb thing that, like, this has nothing to do with the event, I want to emphasize, but as a woman in general, I feel like I'm just not allowed to be confident. Like, I feel like I'm just not. It feels like every time I'm confident in myself, the world feels this need to cut me down because women are just not allowed to have confidence in themselves. And I realize that has nothing to do with who the judges selected, but it's just one of those types of things.
So yeah, because
I feel like men just don't experience that as much.
We don't. Like, again, it is sexist nonsense.
And again, you were on stage with me. There was nothing about this that was sexist as far as I know.
No.
But, like, it's just one of those things where every time you feel like you can trust something as a woman, you just can't a lot of the time. And again, I want to emphasize, like, all the performers were good. I get that this was a very difficult decision, all that jazz. It's not really about winning for me. It's just, I really do wish we could make this competition, because you do have to prepare for going on stage multiple times if you want to be, like, entertaining at all. Like, I do think you just need to have fewer contestants and let them all compete each round.
Yeah.
Because cutting them is also just stressing everyone out immensely backstage. Like, everyone's stressed out about it. It kind of just sucks.
Yeah.
It would be better if everyone was just allowed to perform, because then we could just all relax a little bit more.
Yeah. Like, again, if you want to actually make this a better experience for the performers, cut the number of people doing it down to about 15 groups, as opposed to 20 to 25, and then let us all do every round.
Yeah. And if you're worried about getting somebody who can't improv, just have the host help them.
Yeah.
That was what was happening with half the acts anyway.
Yeah, half the acts were, like, leaning fairly heavily onto Vash and Jim to just, like, help them.
Yeah.
Which, again, we don't have a significant problem with.
But part of the problem is, like, as a competition, this competition has so little rules and is so random that doing this, like, cutting the acts in half type of thing is kind of just not something that's helping anyone at this point.
No.
Because, like, some people were allowed to go way over time, others were held to a very strict time standard, some people were allowed to use a judge as part of their act.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of that's fine. Like, it's not meant to be a serious competition, but if you don't want it to be a serious competition, give everyone that chance to perform as much as they possibly can.
Yeah. Like, in all honesty, this competition will be more fun, at the very least from the performer's standpoint, if you if you basically guaranteed, you're going to get to do all three, like all three sections, and then like at the end we'll announce an overall winner.
Yeah.
Like an audience favorite. That's it. Like, because that also means you don't go through that feeling of, oh God, were we literally the worst performers? Like, did we not get through, and were we bottom of the pack? Because that hurts.
Yeah, and it's also like you don't need to rank stuff. Like, this is the thing, and I do notice this with all the performances. It's just everyone is so nervous. Like, there's way too much nervous energy for what this event is because of that weird cutting process.
Yep.
And people aren't half this nervous doing the masquerade. Because we've done masquerades as well, where you're backstage. People are not anywhere near this nervous.
Yeah, because again, with masquerade, you have prepared one thing.
Yep.
You know you're going to get to do that one thing, and then and then the awards will be given.
Yeah, and nobody wants to win. They just want to keep performing.
Yep.
One of the actors who did get through, again, very great person. This was the possessed girl. Like, put blood on her face between the two acts. She's like, I really hope I haven't done this for no reason.
Yeah. For the record, it was fake blood.
Yeah.
I'm pretty.
We're 99%.
We're 99%. She plays crazy so damn well that sometimes I'm not entirely sure how sane she actually is. And I do mean that as a compliment if you end up hearing this. Yeah, she did get through. And again, like, she is fantastic. She 100% deserved to get through.
But, like, she shouldn't have to, like, put blood on her face without knowing if she's going to or not.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't have to, like, prepare multiple acts that would have been very, very funny and then not get to do them. Just let everyone perform. And if somebody happens to be a little bit weaker at doing it, then just have the host help them out a little bit.
Yeah. Like, it would make for a better experience for the performers. And I'm pretty sure if it's a better experience for the performers, it'll probably be a better experience for the audience.
It is, because it means that you don't have to throw everything out there in the first round. You can relax a little bit. You can actually structure your act a little bit more, so you're telling a narrative story across 3 acts, because that's the thing that I think everyone always struggles with a little bit. I think that's going to be better. And yes, it is improvised, but people do plan the gags they're going to do.
Like, again, especially if you're like us and you like to include a couple of props.
Yeah.
Like, we have a book we prepped for round 2 that nobody's going to see now, and that just sucks.
Yeah, we didn't buy the book, which I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah.
We also prepared snacks that we were going to bring out Act 2, but we were being pressed, like, we got the... And part of it was just also, we were actually held to a time that no one else felt like. Like, it felt like by the second half of the act, they just stopped caring about the time limit. And it's a little bit unfair that we were held to the strict time standard that we're holding at the beginning of the competition that they just kind of got rid of towards the second half of it. So yeah, I was not in a good state. And again, I want to emphasize, the reason I was not in a good state was not because I wanted to win or anything. It's just I wanted to feel like I was good. Yeah. That was it.
Again,
like, if I'm sharing a stage with good people, it's not about winning. It's just feeling like I was good.
Yeah. It's feeling like you deserve to be up there.
Yeah. We all know the elimination stuff, although no one wants to say it, is to basically get rid of people who sign up for this competition who don't know how to improv. Like, that's not a problem anymore, is the thing.
Yeah, no.
Like, that's never been a problem anytime we've entered this competition.
Like, the standard has always been ridiculously high.
No one's going to enter an improv competition if they don't know how to improv. It's an improv competition.
Yeah, like, again, the standard has always been ludicrously high.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, just let us keep performing.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what we all want, is the thing. Like, no one is back there gunning to win. They're back there because they want to be on stage again.
Yeah. And just, so yeah. Like, we were explicitly told, like, if you get cut, we are leaving the space that you sat in initially in the audience. You're welcome to, like, go and sit there. You are welcome to just, like, peace out and leave. We understand if you need to do that.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. The fact that they explicitly were telling people they need to, like, that they were able to peace out and leave, that implies to me they know how stupidly stressful this is, and that some people are going to, like, have breakdowns if they get cut.
Yeah.
Stop cutting people.
Like, this isn't an event you should feel bad for doing. Like, that's the thing. You just shouldn't feel bad for doing it.
Like, this should just be a fun, stupid, silly event.
And, like, I feel bad that we weren't more like this last year when we got to the finals with it, because we probably should have been.
But again, like, that's the thing. If you get through, it's very easy to just be like, oh, that was a great event. You know?
But yeah, I did notice that last year with us, too, is a lot of people don't stick around.
Yeah.
Like, we stuck around when we got to the second round at East, not the third, because, like, at East, like, that's as far as I wanted that act to get.
Yeah, like, that was a 2-act joke.
Yep.
That's
I was fine with that not getting through.
Yeah. Whereas this one, like, I honestly...
This had legs. Like, I thought this was better than what we did last year, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I felt like this was, like, superior to Barbenheimer.
Well, like, if you can tell, like, it's on stage. Like, you can tell how nervous we were when we did Barbenheimer the first time. I thought I had more confidence on stage this time. Like, I was still nervous, but less nervous.
Well, again, we've had a lot more practice on stage. Like,
You still need to know how to get to the center of the stage.
Yeah,
like, walk to the center of the stage and then call me on.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
But yes. Like, I had to walk forward for us.
Yeah.
Sorry. Again, I want to emphasize I probably made a bunch of mistakes on stage, too.
No. Again, here's the thing. I feel like our act was good. Like, the audience clearly enjoyed it based on the...
Like, the fact that they yelled our names first when we were the first act up and they watched 23 acts after us. Well, 22, because we were 23 acts total, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
That is a really big compliment.
Yeah.
But it just led to this kind of confusion generally. And, like, I knew with the family stuff it was going to hit me really hard. And, again, I want to emphasize it's not because I wanted to win. It is because I wanted to perform.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Because, like, performing makes me feel good. That's just the thing. Like, and I think all performers are like that.
Like, this is a piece of feedback I'm actually... Like, I will send them a link to the podcast, but I'm actually just going to write this specific piece of feedback out. Mm-hmm. Because, again, Colossalcon does, like, accept feedback.
Yep. Like, it's just one of those things for which every single time we've done it, people have just been overly nervous. And I do think this is a way to kind of cool the nerves, is just... Because everyone's there because they want to perform, not because they want to win. Like, I've never met a person who's done this who was very concerned about winning.
No. Like, again, there was one guy who, like, made his entire bit performing in this contest just to dick with the hosts.
He's a judge now.
He's a judge now because, again, he's been doing it for so long.
Like, why this is, like, a thing sometimes.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So, yeah, we went in the car for a bit just because, again, I was upset. It's hard to convey that you're not actually upset about not winning because, like, when people see that you're upset, they think that's what it's about. And I also didn't want any of the other contestants to feel bad. Like, I just didn't. So we left, went into the car, we drove around the parking lot.
Like, we basically circled the venue for a bit because, like, you needed to be alone for a while or alone with me.
And realistically, most of this was about, like, this, like, family thing and not about this cosplay contest. It's just... Performing on stage is an intimate and vulnerable thing. Anyone who's ever done that knows that. Mm-hmm. And being told you're not good enough to perform on stage, which is what this feels like, is not a great feeling. So that, on top of everything else, is bad.
So that I think is honestly our feedback on that. So we went and we spent an hour just cooling down. Obviously our parking spot got swiped, which I knew was going to happen.
So we parked over by the villas randomly. And I will say, at Colossalcon, you can park in anything that vaguely resembles a spot, and no one's going to call you on it.
Yeah. So then we walked back in. We were like, okay, we need to kind of reset.
Yeah.
So what was the panel we went to?
5-minute fan fiction, similar to the one we saw at Missouri.
Yes.
I think it was run by the same people too.
I believe it was, and they've made some tweaks and modifications, and I think improvements.
Yeah. It was really good the first time. They only made it better this time.
Yeah. So specifically, the changes they made were at Missouri when they did it. They had a group of 4 people come up at a time.
Yeah.
They wrote the stuff in 5 minutes, and then they presented it, and they just they vaguely kind of waffled and talks to the audience while the fan fiction was being written previously. This time they had little mini Kahoots planned.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a massive fan of Kahoot. I think it's okay. But for this, just as something to keep the audience...
While people were writing.
Entertained while the fan fiction was being written, I think it was a solid choice. Yeah. I think it worked fine.
They also made it a little bit, because they used to have 4 people come up, and then they would advance 2 of the people, and then have finals matches and things like that, bracket style. Mm-hmm. This time they made it a bit more simple. It was just 2 people writing, and people would cheer, and one person would get a bracelet if they got a louder cheer, which keeps the quote unquote competitive element, but tones it down such that I think it doesn't intimidate people quite as much.
Yeah.
As somebody who just was feeling some very big competition emotions, this was something I felt safe participating in after that, because it was... The level of competition is basically, it's not a competition.
Yeah.
It's mostly 2 people are writing stuff and people get to cheer for both of them.
Yeah. And they were also using a website I've not seen before, so I don't remember what it was, but it was basically a combined journaling thing. So they basically gave you a room code, or they got you to scan a QR code when you went up to the front to participate. and it would basically like let you post to effectively a sort of mini forum type thing, so that you had a space to like post your stuff, and then they could project it up on the screen. This worked very well. Like again, there was like people were definitely having issues posting in exactly the right spot because they did have like separate tabs for each round.
Yeah.
And people were kind of getting confused posting their stuff in the wrong round. But other than that, I think it worked really well.
Yep. And they also had people either reading their own fic or other people reading for them, which was cool a lot of the time.
Yep. Yeah, and again, like these are fics that were written in 5 minutes, so they were all pretty short.
They're all short. They're all silly, stuff like that.
This was an 18+ panel, so of course,
yeah,
they all got pretty spicy, no matter what the prompt was.
And yeah, it did make me feel a little bit better. I was still definitely going through some waves at this point, but I did get to write at the end, which was fun.
You did, yeah, because they were basically picking 2 people at a time. So we were volunteering every time, and they picked me as part of the last one.
Yeah. And
I just immediately handed you the phones. At least in part, you are the better writer of the 2 of us. Like when we do stuff like this, generally speaking, I want you to write and I will perform because we know that's how our dynamic works.
Yeah.
Like people like by accident, it's a cheat code in America.
It's a cheat code. In fairness, I do think I should probably do it that time because I will admit I'm not a fast writer. So I don't think the stuff I wrote was very good, and I also wasn't at my best, obviously mentally, generally. But I had fun doing it. It did help me a little bit. Yeah. It's just one of those things where I needed to pour creative energy into something. So I was glad that I finally got a chance.
And you did work in your favorite character.
Yeah. I will say, don't make people like do dances or stuff to choose them because they were trying to do that at that point. I think they realized that was a little bit demeaning after they did it for a couple rounds. So just don't do that in the future.
Yeah. Like again, if you want it to be a little bit more random, just like have. Again, in all honesty, if you wanted to just have everybody like put their name in a hat, and you throw them in a hat, like that would have been fine. But like, I'm gonna be honest, I think you really needed to take part in this panel.
Yeah, which I'm glad I got to at the end. Like technically, your hand got called because that one was just buzzer beater, and you had good reflexes, but it still helped.
Yeah, so I deliberately handed the phone to you.
But even just reading it was just kind of nice and fun, and I did really enjoy all the fanfics and how silly they were. And I love that they do have like just straight up anime characters. We also just have random things like the man in the yellow hat from Curious George was on there.
Yep. Who of course ended up in a spicy fanfic.
Yeah. Mr. Beast was on there.
Yeah.
Markiplier.
Who of course both ended up in spicy fanfics.
Yep.
Can you tell there was a theme here?
Yep.
It was like, oh, office meet cute.
Yeah. Another thing they did is they like moved the wheel because they have 3 wheels, one for one character, one for the other character, one for like the setting or like what the scenario is.
Like Omegaverse or like Meet Cute or like High School AU, etc., etc., etc. Like a lot of classic fanfiction tropes.
Yeah.
How are we doing in terms of the schedule? Are we on Friday?
Yeah, we're still on Friday.
Oh, Jesus, we've got half an hour until we get home.
We can do this.
Okay.
We didn't do that much on Saturday.
This is true.
So yeah. But this time they had them, before they had them spin each wheel separately, now they combine them all together into one spin, which sped things up a little bit.
Yeah, they basically just had a button that spin all wheels, which was, again, they've made some tweaks and modifications and improvements, and this version of the panel was better than the previous version. And I suspect they probably will do some tweaks and modifications based on this one.
They somehow did manage to spin the exact same scenario 2 rounds in a row, though.
Yeah, the wheel like really liked certain characters for whatever reason. I'm not sure if it was as random as it was supposed to be.
I'm sure it was random. That's what randomness is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like after one round, it was a different setting, but it was the same 2 characters, and I just started chanting sequels in the audience just for fun.
So yeah, and again, the other rule they had is if you just had no idea who a given character was, you were allowed to respin.
Yeah.
And you was like, okay, we can respin the whole thing, or if you like just want to if you know 2 of the characters and you're fine with the scenario, then we'll just respin one character you don't know. Like you ended up with Lady Demetrask, or Demetrask,
yeah,
the big titty vampire woman from Resident Evil 8. I've not played Resident Evil 8, but again, I was on the internet during the time when she became super popular.
Yep. I also put Tetris in mine.
Yeah, you put your favorite character, the L-shaped Tetris block.
That is my favorite character. It's my wife, though.
Yeah. But she's such a slut.
The J-shaped Tetris block.
Yeah, well, the J-shaped Tetris block is just an awful person.
Yep.
Anyway.
So after that, we went over to the Beyblades tournament, which is a weirdly popular event.
Yep. So Beyblades, as I'm sure you all know, it's spinning tops for teenage boys.
Yep.
Where they like fight each other. It's dumb.
Yeah.
And the Beyblade tournament at this con knows it's a dumb event. Like, they get Vash and Jim in to commentate on it, and like they talk about it like. So here's the thing: we enjoy this tournament for the same reason we enjoy pig racing, which if you've never looked up League of Pigs on YouTube, look it up. It's very entertaining. But like, it's doing something silly and talking about it like it's really serious.
Yep. And yeah, this was the panel where we had ADA access, and there was somebody who was actually in a wheelchair. I assume it was ADA. Turns out they were just playing a character in a wheelchair, valid. And they were like, "Oh, you can go ahead and be in line," which is super nice.
Yep.
I will say this was a weird event to even have like fast passes for, because half the room was already filled with people who were playing it when you get in. So
because they were doing a 64-person bracket.
Yeah.
This was a 3-hour event.
Yep.
And I think at the end, when everybody who'd signed up wanted to, they had 62 people. So they were just like, "Hey, we have 2 spots left open. Does anybody who's just in this room, we will loan you Beyblades, want to fill those spots." And they did get 2 more volunteers.
But 64 participants is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched basically the opening round, and that was as far as I think we could get.
Yeah.
Because I also want to shout out, there were some very nice people next to us who I typically, because of my ADA stuff, I do need an aisle seat. And the people on the other side weren't willing to give us aisle seats because they were saving them for, I think, competitors, I guess. So we asked if we could switch with them, and they were super accommodating.
They were. I basically was just like, "Hey, sorry to ask this. My wife has ADA needs and really could use the aisle seat. Are you willing to switch with us?" And they could just like, "Yeah, absolutely." Which, super nice. Thank you guys. Very much appreciated that. Like, you are definitely not listening to this. I should have given you a ribbon.
Yeah, we really should have given them something.
I did not have the, like,
mental energy.
It
was also weirdly at that time, like, one of the judges from was competing in the Beyblade tournament.
Yep. Basically came up to us and, like, was incredibly complimentary about our act.
And we were confused, and they were, I think, also confused that we were confused.
Yeah.
Because we were just staring at them, like, kind of confusedly, and they kept complimenting us and then seemed confused that we were confused.
Yeah, because at that point, like, our emotions were shot.
Yeah.
Because, like, we assumed that, like, they'd hated us, and that's why we didn't get through.
Or that they just didn't remember us at all.
Yeah.
Which is almost worse than being hated when it comes to art.
Yep. So, but, like, they were just like, your act was... They used some expletives that, like, I'm not going to on this family-friendly podcast. It was like, your act was so good. Add a couple of expletives in there. It was so funny. I'm like, okay, thanks. And we wanted to just be like, then why the heck didn't we get through to round 2?
We realized even at that time that there's not really a lot of answers to that, particularly at that moment, that would have been helpful to us.
Yeah, no, so. Like them saying, "Oh, it was so good. Like you were 11th place. You so nearly squeaked through," because that would have just made us feel worse.
Yeah.
And we were just really confused at that point. Yeah. So sorry, dude. We did not have the to use a phrase that you're not a fan of. We did not have the spoons to talk to you at that point.
Yeah, we do not have time on this podcast to get into why I'm not the phrase. I don't like the phrase. I don't have the spoons.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on.
But yeah.
So the Beyblade tournament was good. We've got 30 minutes, babe.
Yeah, I know. Keep going.
So the Beyblade tournament, basically, like, a lot of people come with their own Beyblades. They've also just lend out Beyblades to anyone there. Did you say that already?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Everybody has really stupid names for them.
I liked bisexuality. Bisexuality was OP.
Yep. Bisexuality did great, and like when it won, it got a massive cheer from the audience because, again, most cons are pretty queer-coded these days, and that's great.
And yeah, they scheduled a 3-hour time slot for this. They needed it.
Yeah.
Like, we were more than, like, the first round took 2 hours.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if they overran. They probably did.
We stayed for just the first round, because especially after that person talked to us, and, like, not on them, I appreciate them saying that. They just kind of reopened everything I was feeling again. So I tried my best. I stayed for as long as I could. There was a late night panel that we reviewed last year.
That we did very much want to go to, which was the tier list ranking.
It was at 2 a.m.
Yeah, like...
If we had done better, like, or if I think I was feeling a little bit more emotionally stable, I would have legitimately fought to go. I just was not there.
No, we needed to go at that point.
Yeah, I was, like, actively starting to cry.
Yeah.
So we just kind of needed to get out of there before bothering people.
Yeah. So yeah, like, we got you the heck out of there.
Yeah. That said, I will say this event was fun. Like, if I was in a better headspace, I would have immensely enjoyed this. And I have enjoyed it every single time it is previously. And I do kind of like that they're making it even bigger and dumber and more spectacular.
My only real criticism is, at this point, guys, put it in, like, event 2 or something. Like, it just needs a bigger room. Because, like, that room was pretty crowded.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So at that point, we basically noped out. Because we parked over by the or moved over to by the villas, we did have to go back over to the villas,
Yeah.
and there was a massive goddamn rave going on at that point, which would have been fun to just like watch and interact with for a few minutes. Like even if we had like raves are not our thing.
Yeah.
But again, no, we needed to get the heck out of there and just
So we did that. I got some sleep. I was giving a panel at 10 a.m. the next morning
Yep.
on Saturday. I had no idea how popular that was going to be.
Yeah.
But like, and I wasn't feeling in a great space going in tonight. But like, this is just the thing. Is like, it's always very important for me to keep events where I promise I'm going to be there. Just in my life generally, like that's just one of those standards. I have trouble not holding myself to. I hate canceling plans in any capacity. So I knew I was going to be there.
Yeah.
Originally, I was like, let's just go and then we'll just go away for the rest of the con day.
Yep.
Thankfully, that event went well enough that, like, because I had no idea how many people were going to be there because it's 10 a.m. on a Saturday after everyone's been up all night drinking. So, So we actually stopped to get Walmart to get water bottles to help hydrate people.
Yep.
Because I'm like, well, I don't know if anyone's going to have the attention span for like an actual educational panel because this was ethics in anime villains, which is a panel I gave at Subasacon last year, so I had everything prepped, so I just reviewed it briefly.
Yep.
Again, I am a college professor, so I can do that.
Yes.
Because I have the skill set.
You're also talking about your field of expertise.
Yeah,
like,
again, this is something I just know inside and out. I spent years studying it. It's not hard for me to talk about.
Yeah, like this is a panel that, like, the actual prep work on this panel for you is very light and easy. Like, especially now you've already made the PowerPoint.
Well, that's because I've been preparing for it in an abstract sense for, over 15 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like, in terms of you could write most of this without doing any research because it's all just in your head.
I mean, I did write most of it out. So I reviewed it a little bit. I did add the drinking game to it, which just had basic rules, and it was meant to be played with the raw water I provided, which is just like drink anytime I say drink anytime you space out and have no idea what's going on, drink anytime I name an ethical theory, stuff like that. It had like 4 rules. It was super simple.
Yeah.
So.
And a bunch of people took free water.
Yeah.
Because free water.
Yeah. So we got to the room actually about 20 minutes early because we wanted to make sure we're on time, which I think was a good thing we did. Because one thing I do want to shout this con out, particularly as a presenter, is their AV team is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Their prep team for panels.
Every room has speakers, every room has a microphone, and every room has an AV person to help you set up.
Yep.
Like, that's awesome.
And I was the first thing in that room after the wrestling competition, which completely rearranged it the night before.
Yep. Yeah, we did hear them say, well, oh, wow, the wrestlers did a number on these.
Yeah. There were more expletives involved in that sentence, but they got everything prepped and ready for us. They put a table on the stage, so I had a place to sit down. They figured how to hook up the PowerPoints.
They got my lap. Yeah, we got everything set up.
The around the mics. They were fantastic.
They were great.
And we were warning them, we're sorry if you had to do all this because we don't know if anyone's going to sign up.
Yep. And they were like, oh, ye of little faith.
Yeah.
I
mean, they've seen a lot of panels, and then they opened the door, and a bunch of people came in.
Yeah, like a lot more than we were anticipating. Like, I thought maybe we were going to get like 10 people.
Yeah.
You had somewhere between 60 and 100 at a rough guess, like maybe more. Like, I wasn't exactly doing a head count or anything, but it was a decent sized crowd.
Yeah.
Especially for 10 a.m. on a Saturday. And the vast majority of them stayed through the whole panel. Like, quite a few of them left once you hit the Q&A at the end. Where it's like, there's like 5 minutes left. Do you have any questions?
We had ribbons just so they could have stayed for 5 minutes. But I do get that, like, they were probably, if you're a person who goes to panels, you probably go to a lot of panels. So they probably were just getting to their next panel, which does take 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
Which is fine. Like, we were not offended by that.
Yeah, but they stayed for the whole panel, which is, again, high compliments. And people asked very intelligent questions. And even more people came up to me after the panel was over to ask questions, which was awesome.
Yeah, you kind of got chivied out to a certain degree because a bunch of people were trying to talk to you about the panel.
Yep.
And the next panelists needed to do their thing, so you were like, so I kind of ran various bits and bobs back to the car. Like, I didn't want to be carrying my laptop all day because that sucker's heavy.
And you did a great job on the panel. Kind of, your character was kind of, you're my student in these panels, but you're also kind of the butt of the jokes for all the jokes they need to land. And you did a great job with that.
Oh yeah, like again, you were making a comment about like, which school is it where it's like like societal ethics?
I don't understand what you're referencing.
It was the elbows on the table thing.
Oh yeah. And I was joking you every time you put your elbows on the table.
Yep.
And it was also so I normally have people like shout out animes for the villain archetypes I use that fit the stereotype, just so it's a little bit more audience interactive, and because I don't actually know that much about anime, people can like fill in those parts a little bit themselves.
Yep.
which they seem to enjoy, but because we were having trouble hearing them because the room was so big, because this was the room that had the wrestling the night before, they put me in a big panel room.
Yeah, you were in events 2.
Yeah, I definitely didn't need that big of a panel room, but like event 7 would have definitely been too small for this panel.
Yeah,
so.
event 7 would have been overcrowded.
Yep.
So again, I think it was.
But you ran around to the audience to ask with the microphone to give them questions.
Yeah, because I had a wireless mic, and I was you were just like, why didn't you go and like hold the the microphone up to people so they can actually you can hear them? I was like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep.
And of course, I know how to play up running around a room, as a bit, just to be entertaining. So that went well, and I think you really needed that panel to go well. That. Like, you were in a much better mood the rest of the day, just because that panel went so well.
Well, it's just, after, like, feeling a lot of self-doubt, it's nice to just at least be good at the thing that you trained your entire life to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty happy there.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have people come up and, like, everyone asked really intelligent questions. So that was nice. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So then we went to Robot, House of Destruction, and stayed there for 3 hours.
Yep. So
I will say Saturday at this con gets so busy that our trick generally is to just kind of park ourselves in one room for as long as humanly possible, and the Robot room is the best room to do that.
It really is, because this is basically a group whose name I always forget, I'm afraid, that basically turns up to Colossalcon on Saturday. They set up a
very well safety secure plexiglass cage.
Yep. And then just do a bunch of robot fights in it.
Yep.
And they do 3 weight categories, which is fairy, ant, and beetle, if memory serves. So there are 3 categories. And we know they do bigger at their own place. It's just the beetle weight is the largest that their portable case could safely contain. And they freely admit they basically rebuild that sucker every year because it does get banged up. It takes some pounding.
But it's perfectly safe. They have a lot of safety protocols for if stuff catches on fire. They have doors open all times to keep the room ventilated in case there's a fire emergency.
Yeah, they have a fire bucket ready to go. They have multiple fire extinguishers. Like, at one point, one robot did start smoking, and that would... I've mentioned to you that it's kind of fascinating the similarities between this and HEMA, insofar as everybody knows what you're doing is potentially dangerous if you're dumb about it. So everybody takes the safety rules extremely seriously.
Well, it's like, it's your favorite thing in the world. And if it's your favorite thing in the world and it's even remotely dangerous, you know that one safety incident is enough to kill it. So everyone's very respectful of safety.
Yeah. So again, at one point, some smoke started coming off a robot because a battery got exposed. And it was just an immediate, halt the match, open the thing, robot goes in fire bucket goes out the door.
Yeah.
They had that was smooth, that was efficient, and that was incredibly safe.
Yeah. And sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it reminded me of times at HEMA competitions where I've seen a fencing mask come off by accident, and if that happens, everybody freezes, and everybody backs the heck up, and then the safety equipment goes back on, and the safety equipment all gets double-checked to make sure it's securely in place before anything else happens. It was the exact same feeling
20 minutes, baby.
I know. It was the exact same feeling of these people value the safety and they know to do it properly.
Yes.
Which I always love to see. You were saying.
I will just say that, robot fighting generally is something that I feel like everyone of all ages on a base level just enjoys. I've never met a single person who wouldn't enjoy this on some level.
Yeah. It's just cathartic.
It's fun. And they even had a little halftime show where they had kids from local robotics clubs come and talk about what they were doing, which was very cute.
It was adorable.
Well, they have Robots 8, and or not the Robots 8. Well, I'm sure the robots were repaired. The people ate.
Yeah.
The robots ate other robots.
Yeah. And again, the kids were kind of the archetypal nerdy kids. They were into robotics. It was kind of adorable. But yeah. And they were talking about, inter-school robot competitions and stuff like that, which is kind of cool.
And they have all sorts of rules. They have a pit that you can push the other robots into. Some fights are won by them immobilizing the other robots. Some are run by judges' decisions. Some are run by them flipping robots into the pit. So it's all very fun. It's fun to talk about the different types of robots because it's a little rock, paper, scissors and what's good against what. Yep. It's just very fun.
It is.
And everyone who does it is doing it just because they love it. They don't really care about winning. They just care about having fun. So
yeah, which is just awesome to see.
Yeah. We stayed there for 3 hours just because it's a great time sink on a Saturday when everything's crowded and you don't really want to go anywhere.
Yep. And again, it's very much a room that people come in and out of. Not many people do it quite the way we do, where we just kind of camp there.
We didn't stay for the whole thing. Like, you could stay there until 5 if you wanted.
Yeah. And they started at 10. So that but generally speaking, it's a one that, like, people have half an hour to kill and they'll go in, watch a few matches, and then leave. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. Like, that works great. You know, I really hope Colossalcon keeps bringing them back, because I think they are a really good event for them to have.
I do too. They're amazing. They also have a commentator, which I really appreciate. Like, I like commentary in events like this, and they do a good job.
Yeah,
especially when one of the robots is named Yo Mama. Was that where you were going?
Yeah, I was going to mention Yo Mama. Which, again, like, it's, oh dear, Yo Mama is pinned up against the wall by just a little guy. And it's like...
The Yo Mama, just a little guy fight was peak.
It was great.
Yeah, another robot was named Just a Little Guy.
Yep. So yeah, it was done. It was fun. Yep. Like, it's also incredibly technical, because, again, like, building robots is incredibly complicated engineering, but, like, making them fight each other is just dumb fun.
And they're also very respectful about it. Like, if a robot is already immobilized, last guy, do you want me to hit you or do you want to tap out? Is kind of a question you can ask, because you don't want to damage the robots any more than you have to win, because it's expensive to repair them.
Yeah. So yeah, like, again, there's good vibes and good camaraderie. It's like, it's clear everybody knows what they're doing is fun. So yeah. Next.
Doing my best. That's the wrong day.
Yeah, you're having to read the schedule.
Yes. It's not always intuitive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when we went to Actually Trivia.
Ah, yes. So Actually Trivia is, again, something that started cropping up at a lot of cons, because it is actually a really good format for cons, where you basically get, it's based on the game show that's on Dropout, and the basic principle is you get given a statement about some nerdy property, and something in that statement is wrong, and you need to correct it.
Yep.
I actually volunteered to play in this one. I also, hilariously, the guy next to me was cosplaying Sam Reich.
Yep.
If you know, you know. So that, like, they saw him in the audience, and they're like, you have to take part. So that was really good. We had a lot of fun with this. Like, Actually Trivia is a type of trivia that I maintain just works really dang well at cons.
Yep.
Like, I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun with this. My only criticism is just, this was officially, like, anime and games. And it was like 80% anime, so it was about 90% anime and like 10% games. That's my only criticism. Like, even at the balance a little bit. But other than that, no, great job. Because part of the problem with anime is because it's so pulpy, like, generally speaking, you can be an anime fan and not have seen the same anime as other people who are also anime fans. It's not like if you're at a Star Trek convention and you do a Star Trek one, like, everybody's seen the same Star Trek. Not everybody's seen the same anime.
Yeah, it is hard to do actually anime trivia generally, but I thought the stakes for this was right. You got to participate and have fun. The audience got to answer questions that the contestants couldn't, and everyone got candy. So
it was great.
Yep.
I thought this was very well put together. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't really have that much more feedback, I'm not going to lie.
That's fair. Well, we've got to talk about the cosplay contest soon. Yep. I don't know how we're doing that in 15 minutes.
Who knows? We'll figure it out.
We might have to do it, like, we might just have to park somewhere on the university campus.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, if we do, we do.
We do.
Like, I'm working from home tomorrow, so, I could sleep in an extra hour.
This is not helping with the time.
So let's go then.
Okay, sorry.
So, we went to the games room for a bit after that.
Yes.
Chilled out for a bit. We weren't actually planning on going to the cosplay contest.
We weren't. We went to the games room, and then we're planning to just kind of camp there for a couple hours until an event that we might have been interested in popped up. There wasn't much late day we were interested in generally. I didn't expect we would stay terribly late.
Yep.
But then the same thing happened to us yesterday.
Yep.
Where somebody came up, you said we could have the end seats, then more people appeared and they took over the entire table.
Yep, and then they started setting up Magic the Gathering, which does actually use a fair amount of space. So they were kind of like
enough room for us. And
they were kind of like elbowing into our space, and it was like, well, I guess we're buggering off then.
Yeah, we gave them death flares on the way out because we were annoyed.
Yeah.
And I do want to point out there was other open table space. It was just at a round table, which I realize is less good for Magic. But even if you just asked us to move to a round table so you could play Magic, that would have been a better solution to that problem.
Yeah. Because the game we were playing didn't necessarily, because we were playing Splendor. Like, we can play Splendor wherever, we don't care. But yeah, so again, dicks.
Yep.
So yeah, so we were like, okay, we'll wander through the vendors, we'll wander through the halls, multiple figures.
Yeah. And we hadn't planned on going to the cosplay competition in part because we weren't that interested in part because, like, even for ADA seating, because they don't have a clear ADA access line, there's kind of just nowhere for you to go if you can't wait in line.
Yep.
But by the time we walked around to where they were letting people in, they were about 5 minutes to opening it. So I just kind of stood across the hallway.
Yep.
And then I tried to walk in with ADA, but because they combine ADA and FastPass, it's a little bit unclear where the end of the ADA line actually is. Mm-hmm. I was not trying to cut in front of other people with ADA access. I really was not. It was unclear.
Yep. So we ended up getting in.
Yeah.
And they do have a dedicated ADA seating area.
Which I adore.
That is super good. Like, I am glad you have that in main events. That is a very good decision.
Yeah, I heard somebody behind us commenting, these are actually great ADA seats. They normally aren't in most cons. And I'm like, yeah, it's really great that you have a separate section that's actually near the stage for people who probably have disabilities that make it harder for them to see in the first place.
Yep. So yeah, so we actually got really good seats.
Yep.
And then we were like, okay, guess we're doing this.
Yep. And they did actually have a person who was there helping the ADA people find their seats, which I also did appreciate a lot.
Do appreciate it. Like, again, generally speaking, the ADA at this con is actually very, very good. I do want to, like, praise them for that. But yeah, so we then watched the cosplay contest.
Yep.
And so this one was weird.
Yeah, it's always been kind of weird. This one is 3 hours long again. Colossalcon loves their very long events because it's combining, I think, at this point, 3.5 different competitions.
Yep. So specifically, they had their masquerade, which is 15 acts, all of whom are doing like a skit or a performance or some kind of thing like that. Then they did their cosplay craftsmanship cup, which they've been doing, which is like winner. You can participate at any one of the 4 Colossalcon events, and the winner of that all goes into a big like final showdown at Prime the following year. So this is the first year that they actually had winners from previous years. Because they started doing it this time last year.
Yeah.
Or winners from previous events. So for the big like showdown. Then they did the walk-up. Then they did the people who are going into the cosplay cup for next year's overall winner.
Although I think they were still eligible for just other craftsmanship events.
It was vague.
Like, I saw some of them get pulled for other craftsmanship awards, so I assume they're in both like the regular competition and also that competition, but it wasn't very well explained.
Yeah. Then they did the craftsmanship walk-ons.
Yes.
Then they did the exhibition walk-ons.
Which I think were just people who were walking on and not being judged, but Bash and
Jim,
thank you. I have problems. Like, we're making jokes about exhibitionism, so they didn't actually explain what that category is for. Yeah, that's what I think it's for.
I think so. They were too busy making jokes, which again, like, their job is to hype the audience, but this little bit of explanation would have been helpful, guys.
And this was kind of a theme. Like, I like Stripper Bash and Jim. They have good chemistry. They're good at hyping the audience, but their stick's a little bit much for a competition that's 3 hours long. Like, you don't need to make commentaries between every single skit. It's just taking longer. And as somebody who's done a lot of graduations, when events are this long, you need to cut as much dead time as you possibly can.
Yep. But yeah, so we watch it. So we watched the masquerade performances. They were all excellent.
Yes.
The standard of Colossalcon is actually very, very high.
Our favorite, which was something that I knew didn't have a chance of winning because it doesn't involve like technical dancing or professional singing, was the Mario dating game skit.
Yep, where Bowser was like looking at 3 different like characters from other franchises who he could potentially date. This was cute. This was funny. This was well put together. It didn't have a hope in hell of winning anything. We knew that. But if you guys end up listening to this podcast, we loved you. You were our favorites.
Yes. I also really like the Sabrina Carpenter like roleplay skit. That was very cute.
That was also really good. Like, here's the thing. Everybody did really good. And again, this is another thing that I generally don't think needs to be a goddamn competition, and I'm sick of it being one, but like...
Rudy might have an aneurysm if it's not a competition.
Yeah. But again, we lost that battle. Well, we lost that battle at goddamn Worldcon when they started. Like 70 years ago now. But yeah, so... After that, like the performance judges left to go do their deliberations. So
for the record, Bridget thinks it's thrives on competition because it pushes her to do her best.
Yeah. But yeah, so again, they nominally had 3 performance judges and 3 craftsmanship judges.
Yeah.
So the 3 performance judges at that point left. Then they had the cosplay cup people come on. Then they did the walk-ons for the cosplay cup, and then the craftsmanship judges left. Which meant they still had the regular cosplay contest and so they still had and then the exhibition people.
Yes.
But the judges had all gone by that point.
Yeah, it was really confusing. Like, I do understand that these competitions are prejudged. Like, they're judged when they look at the costumes and then walking across the stage. Like, some cons will have a small element for stage presence. Most don't, just because it adds more time to judging that they don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I do understand that these people were prejudged and stuff like that, but it was a little weird. It felt like almost disrespectful to the people who were doing construction.
It felt very goddamn disrespectful, I'm not going to lie. Like, it basically felt like, they're not really worth having the judges sit and watch them. Like, that's honestly what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's also because did you mention the introductions for the cosplay craftsmanship cup people?
No.
Okay, yeah. So for
God, they were so bloody long. I forgot about that. I forgot how goddamn several of them had what I can only describe as a goddamn page worth of introduction.
Yeah, some of which said stuff that you would already know. Like, they said at the beginning that they won a Colossalcon Texas craftsmanship thing, and then they said it again in their bio, and I'm just like, did you just pull this bio from somewhere? Because why are you saying this again? You already introduced them with that.
It was so long.
And we were so tired at that point. And then they also, this was cute. They had them all enter the stage and do a little mini skit as they came on.
Yeah.
But it was just weird.
And again, when we say mini skit, it was 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah, it was cute.
Fine.
That in of itself was fine, but it was not great after a long introduction.
Yeah. So again, and again, the cosplay was incredible. Don't get me wrong.
I would say, this was the thing is, for the regular craftsmanship, even though they had different divisions, they didn't put them in different divisions, which I don't actually mind. In terms of their walk-on order, sometimes their walk-on order will be
novice, then journeyman, then masters.
This time they said everyone walk across at once. I think because in general, just wrangling people at Colossalcon is a pain, so they probably just had them walk on in the order they showed up.
Yep. Which is fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I could not legitimately tell who was in which category because it was all so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it really my main issue is just it felt disrespectful that the judges weren't watching this. But yeah, so after that, they had their halftime show. And they got somebody who's a previous Masquerade winner to be their halftime show, which is a pretty standard thing that they do these days.
We were annoyed at how long the halftime show was, because one, it wasn't a halftime show, and two...
Yeah, this was at the 2-hour 15-ish mark.
And two, it felt like judging really should have been done by then, because all of the pre-judge stuff happened second. And, there weren't that many performances to judge, so everything should be ready to go.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, don't get me wrong.
The performance was great, phenomenal. They had great stage presence, and they managed to carry on very intense singing for a 10 to 15-minute period.
In Japanese.
Yes. So
they
were amazing. It's just we were tired at that point.
Yep.
And that's not a knock against them. I'm sure they were given an amount of time to perform for and then filled that time period.
And then Bash and Jim had to vamp because they still weren't goddamn ready.
And their vamping was bad.
They
called you out of the they asked, "How has your Colossalcon been?" And they were looking at you, and you were doing the mid
and I did it
And then Jim was trying to talk to you about it to try to get something funny or funny soundbite to echo back to the audience, and you were just giving him absolutely.
I gave him nothing. Here's the thing: I was still pretty goddamn not in a great mood as a result of the stuff the previous day.
Which I want to emphasize, they weren't judges.
They weren't judges. It wasn't their fault. If I felt like it was their fault, I would have given him shit then and there.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew it wasn't his fault, so it was funnier. It was funnier for me because just to be there's been some good stuff, there's been some bad stuff.
And then he tried to get you to elaborate. Yeah, the good parts were good and the bad parts were bad.
And he was just I have no idea what to do with this. I know I was being a dick to you, Jim, and I am sorry about that.
It was kind of funny from my perspective. But
and that's the thing. I did point out to you this morning that if I really wanted to be a dick, I could have been I was sexually assaulted in a bathroom, but I had fun at her panel this morning.
I had fun at cosplay, Chess, so that's cool.
I could have been much worse than I was.
You should not make jokes about sexual assault.
No, and I'm glad I didn't. But there are worse things I could have done.
I do want to point out, asking people what went wrong at the con while you have a live mic to your face is probably not a smart decision generally.
Yeah, you're kind of asking for trouble.
Don't do that in the future.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's I get what you were trying to do, but I wasn't in the mood to deal with it. And I'm sorry. It probably was unfair of me to take that out on you. again. I do try to be a better person than that. But yeah.
I'm trying to bring back the bit with the chair, people cheering for chairs, because that's like a thing.
Yeah. The chair joke is like 5 years old at this point, but it still keeps coming back.
Yep.
Like, I'm pretty sure that joke predates when we first went to Colossal.
Yeah. And at this point, like, it was mostly just, we didn't have anything to do after this, so we just kind of stayed for the awards.
Yep. Half the audience didn't, because again, like, nobody actually cares who wins cosplay competitions. They just want to see the cool outfits.
Well, they had to, like, weirdly, the awards, like, this is the first time I've ever actually seen awards sponsored by certain organizations, which they had to read off the names of, and I'm not going to read them off here, because unless you're giving me money, I don't care.
Yep. Yes, it was, like, it was a bunch of different vendors and stuff. And then, like, weirdly, so they had to put all the prizes up, and then, like, but here's the thing that ticks me off. And I'm wondering if this has something to do with, like, the event we were part of.
Yep.
So they give out Judges' Choice Awards. Judges' Choice Awards are a very normal thing. When they were doing the awards for Masquerade, one of the judges gave out his Judges' Award for Masquerade. And then there wasn't any more Judges' Awards. Well, that's weird. Why was only one of them doing it? And then we got to the Judges' Awards for Craftsmanship. And all three of the craftsmanship judges gave out an award. And then the two goddamn performance judges gave out craftsmanship judges awards. So once again, we have got craftsmen doing the judging for the goddamn performance masquerade. And I'm sick to bloody death of seeing that. Because it feels disrespectful to the performers. Like, here's the thing. I am sure, based on what they said, that they were very well qualified to judge cosplay techniques and all of that kind of stuff, the craftsmanship stuff. They had zero goddamn stage presence, and I'm pretty sure that they were not qualified to judge the masquerade. And I know I'm pissed off now.
We've just seen a lot of, like, horse monkey, it's a term I've just made up, monkey at...
shenanigans.
Yes.
Where craftsmanship judges get roped into also judging the masquerade.
Yeah.
And frankly, they shouldn't be, because it's not their skill set.
And I want to be clear, like, all the masquerade stuff was good. I'm perfectly happy that some stuff won. There was just other stuff I wanted to see win, too.
Yeah.
And, like, I would have wished that a few more of those things got judges' awards so we could at least recognize, like, a little bit more variety.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I'm wondering, because the only person I know who was definitely a judge at both was the one performance judge, who was actually there to judge performance. I'm wondering if it was the same trio of performance judges who were looking at the improv show as well. And if it was, screw you guys.
So I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Because I want to talk about this a little bit more.
Yeah.
What we could do is record the rest of the podcast tomorrow on the way back and forth from Aldi, since we want to go to that.
Yeah, this is true. We do want to do that. Like, that will take about an extra, 15 minutes. It will add more breaks into this, which, might be worth doing.
I mean, it's better. Do you really want to stay up and record for another,
half an hour?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay. So we'll do that, and we'll finish talking about the cosplay competition. I apologize for this being kind of a chaotic episode. It's not like we're professionals. If you're listening to this, you're probably still drunk from the con.
Yep.
So
we'll finish doing that, tomorrow. But we should have time to finish talking about this.
Yeah, we should definitely. So another thing that is just weird about this is just how much emphasis this weird cosplay competition circuit cup thing has. Like, it is cool cosplay, but I don't know what purpose it's actually serving, because no one's gonna go to this con to enter this thing.
Nope.
And no one's gonna go specifically to see this.
Nope.
And this also echoes something weird that I find. I want to emphasize, Yaya Han, great cosplayer. She should charge whatever she wants for her appearances, because she made cosplay something that it wasn't before she existed.
Yep.
I'm sure she's a perfect person. This is a weird con to have her at.
Mm-hmm.
It just is.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what her appearance fee is, but I know it's notoriously high, and she deserves that fee. Don't get me wrong. She's
allowed to set her prices, and if people are paying that, it's clearly what she's worth.
Yeah. But it's weird that this is a con that was willing to fork out the money.
Yeah, and she was not even a judge, which, again, fine. She's not obligated to be a judge, but she literally came on stage just to announce an award.
Yeah.
That was it.
To announce the overall winner.
Yeah.
And, I get the impression she wasn't planning on doing that until, somebody went and got her, 10 minutes before.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
And kind of awkward.
And, I don't know who is behind this weird push to make Colossalcon a prestigious,
cosplay
con, it's just odd. Like,
yeah, like
it's not a like it is a con that has a lot of cool and fantastic cosplay, but the best cosplay, honestly, is just the weird stuff you see in the halls. It's that person who made a mimic costume.
Yep.
It's that person who's running around in a Furby thing. It's those weird interactions you get with cosplayers. It's not high artisanal craftsmanship.
Yep.
Nor should it be, because it doesn't make sense to bring that to a water park.
Yep.
And I want to be clear, like, all the performers were doing that. Like, there were many, many fantastically, brilliantly constructed cosplays. And I absolutely want all of those people to have the chance to show off those fantastic cosplays. It's still weird that Colossalcon
is trying to be the con where that's a thing that happens. Yeah.
Like, I know plenty of people who go to Colossalcon because it's a fun water park who also happen to be excellent cosplayers, but we did find out that a lot of the cosplayers who won awards were kind of pressured by people to enter the competition, which is also weird.
Yep.
Because they apparently had empty slots left, and they wanted those empty slots filled by, like, I guess, high-level, like, artisanal people as opposed to the people who were just passionate about the con. And, like, I'm sure those people did deserve to win, but it does feel a little bit, I don't know.
It feels like somebody's embarrassed by Colossalcon itself.
Yeah, and it also, like, feels bad to me that, like, an award went to somebody who wasn't otherwise going to enter the competition and was just here to hang out, as opposed to somebody who was really excited about building something specifically for this competition.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, I completely agree with you, and I completely get that. Like, it's just... The best way to describe it is it feels like somebody high up in their cosplay department is embarrassed by the fact that Colossalcon is largely a party con, and they're trying to, like, I don't know, improve their reputation or image by, like, you know, raising the standard of cosplay to, like, a ridiculous extreme, so they can be like, yes, we are so sophisticated, look at this amazing work that people produce for this. And they're like, dudes, you're also the con where everybody gets drunk and has sex at a water park. It's fine to be that. People love this event. Like, there are plenty of people for whom this is their absolute favorite con.
Yeah, and
I get why.
And even if it's not a prestigious cosplay competition, that doesn't mean the cosplay that wins is not going to be beautiful and amazing and awesome. It's just not going to be looked at with the same level of, like, award as, like, somebody gets it, I don't know, that big con in Florida, like Holiday, Missouri, or something like that. That is considered more, like, prestigious in terms of costuming. Like, the winners at both those cons are deserving, and they're equally good. I'm not going to say they're equally good costumers because I don't want to get, like, a flame war or anything going, but, like, they put creativity and work into their art, and anyone who wins the Best in Show deserves it, regardless of what con it's at. And that person is passionate and did amazing work, so who cares?
Yeah. And again, it really did feel like the main cosplay competition
was sidelined for this weird circuit cup thingy.
Yeah, where you're basically taking people who are, let's be honest, probably pretty much at this point professional cosplayers and having them face off against each other rather than what cosplay is supposed to be, which is amateur people doing stuff because it's cool.
Yeah, I was commenting to you a little bit about this during the competition, actually, is I really do feel, particularly in recent years, that, like, cosplay contests in general have really gotten away from amateurs having any place in them whatsoever. Like, it feels like for performance competitions, you have to have been lucky enough to have your parents put you in either singing or dancing lessons at, like, the age of 3 for you to even compete. And for construction competitions, you basically have to go in already knowing how to sew.
Yep.
And, like, that's not fair for people who, like, are like me and had really horrible home lives and couldn't have those skill sets growing up. Like, anything I do with costuming is stuff I'm learning as an adult.
Yep.
And because of that, I don't really feel like there's a place for me to compete, or for a lot of people to compete.
Yeah, which just, it kind of sucks. It takes a lot of, like, the joy and the love and the passion out of it. Like, there's a reason why we not even attempted to do any kind of craftsmanship thing in years.
Or performance.
Yeah.
Like, and part of that is just because we're learning the skills just now, we feel like there's not a place for us in those competitions. Yeah. Like, as somebody who wants to be a skit writer, I really don't want to compete against people who've been doing singing and dance since the age of 3 before they even got into anime. Like, that doesn't really feel fair or fun to anyone.
Yeah,
that's why I like the in-character contest, honestly, that much, is because it really did feel like this was skill sets that everyone was learning as an adult together.
And again, like, it's just kind of frustrating because it feels like we're being shut out from it.
Like, I don't want to win. I just want to feel like I'm not going to be laughed off the stage.
Yeah. And again, like, generally speaking, you won't be. But again, it does feel like the amateur contest at this con has started to get disrespected in order to like make this more prestigious professional thing a thing. And that's just kind of a weird decision.
Yeah, and even the novices in this group were just insane.
Yep.
And that's fine. I want competition to be that good, and I want people to continue to develop those skill sets. But
okay. So,
but this wasn't terribly fun to watch. I think is another kind of big takeaway from this.
Yeah.
Like the performances were fun, but everything else took way too long for me to have the patience to even want to see it most of the time.
Yeah, like if we'd had anything else we even vaguely wanted to go to on Saturday, we would not stay through the end.
Well, it's mostly just because so much of it was just focused on like these 3 or 4 costumes that were admittedly cool, but took like an hour just to introduce by themselves. There was no time left over for like the other cosplays that you just want to go to see.
Yep.
And this is the other thing that I wish people would understand from an audience perspective. No one cares who wins.
Nope.
Like pretty much everyone leaves before the awards are handed out because no one cares.
Yep. The awards are not actually important. All we want to do is see the cool costumes, see the performances. Like, it's the classic reason why we always argue that this stuff doesn't need to be a goddamn competition. It can be a showcase, and the audience will enjoy it just as much.
I mean, I do appreciate that they have an exhibition type thing that people can do where they can go on and not just be judged. That's fun.
Yeah.
But the reason we don't do that is just because, frankly, getting into that, one, you have to like find a place to sign up for it, and then you have to wait backstage for like hours upon hours, and like I didn't want to do that. I don't think most people probably would enter the exhibition section just quite simply because you would be stuck in a green room for 3 hours, and most people don't want to show up their cosplay that badly.
Yeah, like it's just kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, we are home, or very, very nearly, like within the next 30 seconds or so. So we'll pause the episode here, and then we'll kind of like finish recording it tomorrow, because it's like 10:30, because we spent like 4 hours at our friend's house. But that was kind of the last thing we did on Saturday, so we should be good to just kind of move on and talk about Friday tomorrow, I believe. So I don't think we did anything after the cosplay competition.
We did not.
So yeah, so we will just say thank you for listening, and we will see you again momentarily.
Bye.
Bye. And we're back.
We're back. We transferred an ungodly amount of money.
Yeah. Again, house closing today, so you know, it's nice to have something to distract us.
Yep.
Okay. So we were up to, I believe, the end of Saturday night.
Yes.
Basically after the cosplay contest, we went back to the Airbnb.
Yeah. We did a bit more looking at doors and things like that, and then we went back to the Airbnb.
Yep.
More trinket trading.
Yep. Which again is fun. You know, it is a con where you can do that, and there aren't actually that many of them, so it is nice in that regard. Yeah. So, Sunday morning, we got up, we packed up the car, we did all that stuff. I left something at the Airbnb, annoyingly, but it's something that's going to cost us $5 to replace, so it's not really that big of an issue. And then, got on the road, got back to the con, and we were aiming to be there for a panel that started at 10. I think we got there at like 9:57-ish into the car park. So we got to the panel like a couple of minutes after it started.
Yeah. And this was Serial Mascots Good to Evil.
It
was a very fun panel.
Yep. But again, like somebody had basically come up with a list of like various cereal mascots.
Yep.
And then was like, quote unquote, analyzing them on like a good to evil scale. Like, how good are they? How evil are they? How like dangerous are they to a person?
Yep.
Like the like, what are they, like craves? Something or other?
The cinnamon squares, they're for Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They replaced the like mascot for that.
Yep. Where they're
baker.
Yeah, where they're like eating each other.
Yep.
And like his scale basically said, these guys are kind of evil, but at the same time they're completely harmless to people. They just seem to be kind of cannibalistic.
And also they cannibalize themselves half the time. And they're also the only thing that exists in their world, and they might also be the only source of food in their world. So
Yep. Yeah, so it's again, this was a very silly panel because it was a good opportunity to look at a bunch of weird cereal mascots. This was especially interesting for me because it's another one of those things that I've noticed that the UK and America have different advertising things frequently, which mean that was going weird. Which does mean that we see different adverts. So there was one character that they showed, the Cocoa Pops monkey, which I'm assuming you'd never seen before.
No.
Because nobody else in the room had either. And he was just like, yeah, I just kind of came across this one and I'm not exactly sure where he's from. And I was like, I recognize it, it's British.
Yep.
I was like, oh, that makes sense. And at the end, I did suggest looking up Snap, Crackle, and Pop, the
those are a thing over
Crispy.
here too.
Yeah, and then he basically said, we came in after he mentioned this towards the top of the panel, but they have very strong regional differences in how they're portrayed, which made them really hard to put on the scale.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of amusing.
Yeah. He also had his friend working the PowerPoint, and he was like, dude, I have a question. You said that Lucky's an elf. Isn't he a leprechaun?
Yep.
It's very silly. And cereal mascot, like, if you assume that cereal commercials or any type of commercial that has long time mascots has lore behind it, and they're not just desperate commercials that are people that have different ideas interpreting the characters, it gets very weird very quickly in ways that are just fun to explore.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's stage presence was great, and there weren't a lot of people in the room at a 10 a.m. panel, and they were all laughing and having a massively good time. So very well run.
Oh yeah,
adored
absolutely.
This. And again, it made me want to run a panel similar to this, because as an ethics professor, I actually can do good to evil rankings with a little bit more educational content, but also equally stupid. So
it was kind of great, because I had to do a card at the end.
Yeah.
And I did mention to him that you were an ethics professor. He had this brief moment of, oh God, what have I done?
Yeah.
Look on his face. And I was just like, yeah, you kind of want to nick the panel idea. Like, probably not with cereal mascots specifically, but like the basic idea of just like, let's take a bunch of stupid stuff and rank it on a good evil scale, like while also throwing a bit of ethical theory and like, because again, it's a good concept. I think it would work very well.
It is, and I would definitely wouldn't want to step on this person's toes, because I think what they have is wonderful and great. I just want to do my own version of cons they're not at. So.
Yep. So yeah, fun panel, good way to kick off the day.
Yep.
After that, we went to, was that the Disney Princess Trivia?
Yes.
So this was less good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to like blame this person specifically, because like one of the issues was they were using Kahoot for this trivia, and there was a bunch of tech problems with it.
Yeah.
Like, the Wi-Fi in Event 7 is, I think, probably the spottiest in the Kalahari that I've seen. So having a bunch of people try to use Kahoot on their phones was uncooperative, but generally speaking, I'm not a massive fan of Kahoot as a thing for trivia. Like, as I mentioned to you, the 5-minute fanfiction panel, using it as like a little thing to keep people entertained briefly while the fanfics were being written, I thought worked pretty well. But Kahoot for an entire hour-long panel, I'm not a massive fan of. Don't know what you think.
Yeah, I generally don't tend to like Kahoots that much. I thankfully never had to use them in school, just because we went to school. I think you didn't either, but they're kind of boring for me. I don't like that answering faster is like a mechanic for that, because that just encourages people to button mash, and it privileges people who can read quicker, which is a little like ableist generally. And like, not that winning these Kahoots actually matters like at all, but like, it's just not my favorite way of doing trivia a lot of the time, and it's a system that can have a lot of problems, as it did in this room. So the panel didn't start until 20 minutes into the panel time. Yeah,
like the actual quiz started about 20 minutes late, and we were also having issues with the Wi-Fi, so we like missed the first couple of questions, and it basically got to the point where we're like, let's just go.
Yep.
Again, nothing really on, not on the panel list in that regard. It was just it ended up not being kind of what we wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, we just kind of walked around. We went to the Otaco flea market for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
The Otaco flea market is basically people just reselling goods and things that they think people would like. It's basically like a giant garage sale with very, very pricing, and you have to line up at like 8 a.m. or earlier to even get a table in the flea market.
Yeah, because they don't. Whereas Teco does something very similar to this. With that one, you sign up in advance for a table.
You pay like $20 for a table.
Yeah, but generally speaking, if you're paying like that small an amount for a table, you're going to get your money back. Yeah. You'll be fine. Whereas at this one, it's basically just first come, first served, which is... it did mean the car park was more crowded than usual for 10 a.m. that day. Because, quite a few people were obviously like, parking up in order to load in stuff. But this is an incredibly popular event. Like when we arrived, we walked past the line to get in because it was just opening when we walked into the building. And like that line stretched down the entire corridor.
And it's in both Events 1 and Events 2, which are separate spaces.
Yeah, so it's in 2 separate rooms. But again, so it suffers from the same issues as the craft fair insofar as there are a lot of bodies in a relatively small space. relative to the number of people in it. Like, these are the two biggest panel rooms. And this goes on all day. You know, so it is absolutely heaving, especially if you want to, like, if you want to try and snag a good deal early before somebody else does, you do have to get in there pretty much as soon as it opens.
And like some of the tables have really good deals. Like I saw somebody doing Squishmallows for like $1 or stuff like that. But there are also people who are selling used stuffed animals for like $30, and I'm like, I'm not paying $30 for a used stuffed animal. I don't care how rare it is. So.
Yep.
And other various things like that, because everyone can just set their own prices. So.
Yep.
It's kind of see what you can find. I will say I found more like. It seemed like pricing was fairer here than it was at East, because East just had everything. It was very hard to find anything that was below $20 at all at East. Here, at least, you could find most things below $20.
Yeah.
So.
Which is better.
Yeah.
Again, because generally most of this stuff is with the best one in the world junk.
Yeah, it's stuff people have in their house that they don't want anymore.
Yeah, which is fine. Like, there is absolutely nothing wrong with this basically being what amounts to a giant garage sale.
Yeah. And if I ever wanted to, call down my plushie collection or something like that, I might just do a version of this where if it was free, or I would just be like, pay $1, or it's free, but you can only take one, just so everyone can get one, or something like that.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And again, like, I don't know if you have to pay for one of these tables, but again, the fact that you have to, like, scrum to get one probably means you don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, like, because by the middle of the day, a decent number of people had sold everything they brought with them.
Yeah.
So they just vacated their tables because there's no point in them still being there. And I don't know if those people, I don't know if you were allowed to, like, occupy that table and start trading yourself at that point. I don't see a reason why you couldn't. I just don't know if there's a rule for or against it. So yeah, again, the craft fair or the flea market itself is okay, apart from the fact that the sheer number of people trying to go to it was definitely kind of dangerous at a couple of points. And yes, I know we make life harder for ourselves by walking around in, you in a ball gown. We should mention what you were wearing that day, by the way.
I was wearing a new dress I got from Jessica. It was kind of dead stock, so I got it for $80. It was really pretty, though. I'm probably going to wear it to a fur con because I had antlers on with it and, like, pink hair. So It does have a train, which is why we left it for today.
Yeah. We waited for the quiet day.
Yeah. It's backless, which is very fun.
Yep.
I tend to wear a lot of stuff that's backless.
Yeah. And you got it relatively inexpensive just because it was a, what was it, like a sample that didn't quite work out or something?
Yeah, basically. I don't know the exact stories behind it, but it held up well for the day. The fabric is delicate, so we do have to be careful with it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. You looked very good. You got a bunch of compliments. Again, new dress, whereas I was just I was in basically the same gear as Thursday just because it was, I didn't want to bring another costume and I didn't have anything that specifically matches that dress.
Yeah.
So yeah. So after that, we went to, I believe it was Disney Song Trivia.
Yes. Yeah. This was done by Paradox Panels. So panel groups are a thing. There's a couple that we know, some we like, some we don't like as much, just a matter of taste. And panel groups are basically groups of friends who basically run panels together at cons. I think the gimmick behind it is presumably you want to go with friends, you want a room together. It makes it easier for you to accrue free badges for all your friends if you do all those things together, and probably makes traveling to the cons cheaper. And some people just, I think, like being part of an entertainment group and want to create their own, which is awesome.
I can respect that.
And yeah, we did Paradox Panels musical trivia last year.
Yeah. Was it specifically musical theater trivia, I think?
Specifically musical theater, you were right.
Yeah.
And I didn't see this person with them this year, which is fine. They probably have had other stuff to do. But there was somebody last year who I remember who was doing their musical theater trivia who was very happy with the fact that we were con surfers and very excited to meet us, which was very cute.
And yeah, I ended up chatting to one of them at one point during the panel while you were.
I didn't know they were one of the panelists.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we were just having a conversation about life and all of that stuff. So if you're listening, hi. Because she did subscribe to the YouTube channel. But no, we really enjoyed this. Again, this is basically 15 questions. Actually, it's 45 questions technically. So it's 15 questions around. They get half a dozen volunteers out for the audience. And then they play you a clip of a Disney song. And this gets complicated because their rules are Disney song in this context is anything the mouse owns the rights to.
Which is half the media on the planet.
Yeah, I pointed out that technically if they wanted to, they could put the songs from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the musical episode into this, because Disney now owns Fox. It's like, do they have the distribution rights to it on Disney Plus? It counts. So, you know, there's a few, like, easy, obvious gimmies, and then there's a whole bunch of, like, what the heck is that from?
And there was a lot of decoms and stuff like that, which I enjoyed a lot. And they had stuff that was so new that, like, they were asking small children to answer because they would know the answers, which was adorable.
Yeah. And yeah, so it was basically 3 rounds. First round was just identify the movie or the franchise. Second round was identify the song title specifically. And third round was give us the next lyric. Just keep singing it after they stop the track.
Yeah. And as usual, the prizes were just dumb things. I think they said that they had prizes, but they forgot them in the dorm room, which is fine.
That's fine.
I say dorm room because it is pretty much... It's basically dorm rooms. Colossalcon is basically college.
Like, yeah, it does kind of feel like that way sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, hotel.
Yeah.
And it's cute. They had some kids playing, which was adorable, and they have little buzzer like operation-y thing, which is very cute.
Oh, it works very well. Yeah. You know, again, it's basically just one of those, like, I don't know where they got it. They've really admitted it's over a decade old at this point.
Yeah, it looks old and looks like it was a children's toy at one point.
Where it's basically just, it's 6 individual buzzers plugged into a thing. You push the button and it lights up the correct color, and then it won't light up another buzzer until they push the button that clears it. Which it's a very effective way of seeing who pushed the buzzer first. Like, I have no idea how or why they acquired it, but it definitely works well for this panel.
It does. Yeah, this was super fun. It's fun. There was audience participation. AV team was helping them make sure the sound quality was good for their stuff.
Yeah, I definitely think there was a couple of issues in terms of the songs being quite audible enough for the people playing.
Yeah, because the speakers were out into the audience and the people playing were on the stage, so it was kind of hard to hear because both of us were up there. It was definitely harder for us to hear when we were near the stage than when we were in the audience.
Yeah.
But...
And the other thing is, because of the way they set it up, the panelists or the players are facing the panelists, which does sometimes make it hard for the audience to hear what the answer they just gave was. But like, short of giving microphones to everybody, there's not really an easy solution for that. So yeah, not entirely sure how you would fix that particular problem, but it's at no point was it like a major issue. It was just occasionally slightly annoying.
Yeah, I would recommend though when a person is answering you, since you have wireless mics, they're handing them the microphone just so the audience can hear their answer would be good, because that's kind of what we wound up doing in our panel. Yeah, but that was something I thought of on the fly during the panel. So I don't begrudge them for not thinking of that. It's hard to run a panel.
That it is. So. Okay, we've reached our destination, so we're going to pause the recording one more time.
Yeah, I'm sorry this is such a janky episode.
Again, we just had more to say, so again, we're almost done.
Yep.
So we'll pause it briefly, and then we'll be back momentarily. Bye. And we're back for hopefully the last time on this episode.
Yeah. Well, we've described all the events we went to.
Yeah, because after that, we were planning to attend Anime or Politician.
Yes.
But we knew we also wanted to hang out with our friends a little bit, and we also then needed to get on the road to go visit your bridesmaids.
An Anime Politician is fun, but it is kind of the same panel, and we have seen it about 6 times now, so...
Like, we still forget whether it was an anime character or a politician who said most of the quotes.
Yeah, there's a couple joke ones I remember, but for the most part, I just forget every time. Yeah. As evidenced by the fact that we never win. So. Yeah.
The one I always remember is just the one that's, it's a quote from Pokemon the movie 2000 that's actually, it doesn't matter which answer you hit, they're both correct, because that movie got quoted by an American politician, and that's just funny. So yeah, again, Anime or Politician is fun, but we decided, given the time constraints we had and all the other people we wanted to see that day, we decided instead to go to the games room, snag a space, meet our friends there. We kind of hung out and chatted for a while, and then we got on the road.
Yeah.
We got you changed in a bathroom.
Yep.
So we went to the quiet bathroom that we found, and no, you're not allowed to know where it is. You know, I went out to the car to grab your, like, easier travel dress that doesn't have a hoop skirt, and also a garment bag. And incidentally, if you're trying to get changed at a con, garment bags are your friends.
Probably need to order more.
Yeah, they are very, very useful for like transporting clothes. It's literally what they're designed for. But it made getting out a lot easier, so I'm glad we did it that way.
Yes.
Then we just kind of walked through the space and got on the road and headed out.
Yep.
That was Colossalcon.
Yes.
So, you know, I'm trying to think what order do we do stuff in. Stuff we didn't do?
Yep.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. They do have a lot of panel programming. A bunch of fan fiction panels. A bunch of panels dedicated to just one specific anime. Borderlands panels was there. I remember that other panel group that was also there. Manly Battleships panels was also there.
Yep. There was also the Federation, who we love the Federation, and I'm sad we didn't get a chance to go to any of their stuff this weekend.
Yep. They had a formal ball that weirdly we just didn't go to because I was in a crunk outfit and it was not formal ball appropriate on the day that they have it. But it's actually, they get a string quartet for it every year. It's very well to do.
Oh, yeah.
They had formal ball lessons for the formal ball.
Yep.
Stuff on being a GM, stuff on cosplay, the traditional stuff on traveling to Japan, and a lot of drinking and water park stuff.
Yep. Some information on the Colossalcon cruise. Because, of course, Colossalcon is one of the cons that's expanding into the cruise area.
Yep. They had an underground night market, craft fair, TGZ market.
They had a lot of stuff. And again, I know one of the big events is the night swim where you're allowed to bring booze into the water park, which I'm amazed nobody's been hurt doing that, but you guys do you.
I also saw, when we were randomly walking around on Saturday night, one just normal family that was there.
Yep. I don't know how that happens. At this point, given how fast all the rooms sell out, I'm genuinely surprised that the entire room, that every room in the Kalahari is not just Colossalcon.
I'm pretty sure it nearly is. It's just I did think that they had a couple last-minute cancellations this year, and I think one family just got one of the room bookings by accident, so...
Oops.
They seemed very overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's kind of a loss. The kids looked like they were having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, again, there was a lot of stuff we do not do at this con just because they have so much stuff. I do feel bad that we couldn't go to the 2 a.m. panel we wanted to, but our headspace was not good at that point. That's not on the person. I'm sorry you got stuck with the 2 a.m. time slot.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say, as somebody who submitted panels for this, the time slots they give you are very random.
Yep. They don't even tell you. I remember you got the email saying your panel had been approved.
Yep.
And then they didn't tell you what it was. The schedule came out and you had to scan through it. And it took you quite a while to find it. You weren't entirely sure it was on there for a while.
Yeah.
And then you spotted it Saturday at 10 a.m. and we were like, oh, great. So that's a panel nobody's turning up to. Oh, well.
Anthro Ohio or Anthrocon and Tech have also approved me for panels, and they just say your panel's been accepted. They don't tell you a time slot, and it's I get that you're still planning the schedule, but dude, at least give me some idea, please.
Well, for those two, you both volunteered to do slightly weird times, so we'll see if they take you up on that.
They probably will. If you volunteer to do the off times, they nearly always put you with the off times because no one else wants to go during them.
Yeah. And yeah, if you volunteered to do it, you can't complain when they put you there. But yeah.
So, top favorite con moments?
Yep. Despite all of the problems we had with it this year, I did genuinely love all the camaraderie backstage at the in-character contest. This is the problem. I adore everybody who takes part in that contest. And I think the change we were discussing earlier would just make the whole thing more enjoyable overall for everyone.
I actually really enjoyed Cosplay Chess this year. I'm glad I got to be king and queen with you.
Yep. Yeah, that was fun. And you got to end the game in a very decisive manner.
Yes.
That was a cool checkmate on one of the games. So I know what one of yours is going to be. And I could steal it just to be funny, but I'm not going to. I did actually really enjoy the Disney song panel. Or the Disney song trivia panel, I should say. Just because at least a couple of them were just things that the entire crowd was kind of singing along to. In fact, there was at least one during the third round where, again, the point of that one is you have to complete the song lyric.
Yep.
Where the entire audience almost sang the answer. Because we all just kind of got way too into it, and it was fun to get swept up in that kind of vibe. That's always fun.
I will take this ranking Serial Mascots panel. It was very funny and very silly.
It was. And I'm going to say your panel.
I was going to say that. Why did you said you weren't going to snipe that from me?
That wasn't the thing I assumed you were going to include.
What did you think I was going to include?
I thought you were going to include the Neopets made-up thing.
I was going to include that. Fine, you can have it.
Thank you. Look, I love seeing you on stage. In basically every capacity. You're just very good at it. And, particularly towards the, right at the end of the panel where a few people came up to, ask you questions, I was, running stuff back and forth to the car because, there was heavy stuff I didn't want to carry around for the rest of the con, so it was easier to take it back to the car. And just, seeing you, hunched down on the edge of the stage, doing the full-on, princess dress, ball gown around you look to talk philosophy and ethics with interested people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was like, somehow this is a perfect encapsulation of who she is.
I guess that's true.
And it was just this wonderful little moment, and it was great. I'm very glad that people seem to enjoy the panel and were interested in the topic. Like, that's always the goal with something like that.
Yeah, so I'll pick the Neopets beat up. That was very fun, and I got my little story stamp buddy.
Yeah.
So, now for our very scientific ranking, would we go back?
Maybe.
Like, this is the thing, is Colossalcon is a very volatile con in terms of how much fun you actually have.
Yeah, we've done it 3 times now, and we've basically had kind of a mid-time, kind of a really good time, kind of a mid to not great time.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that has just come down to kind of randomness stuff.
Yeah. It's a very crowded con. You're going to deal with a lot of people, a lot of whom are drunk, and, like, there are some very, very nice people there. But it's also a con where a lot of people are drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a con that has a lot of very unique features about it. Like, I do like it, and I do think if we could get more panelist badges, we would probably go back to do panel work and stuff like that. It is also expensive.
Yeah, because it is one that requires an overnight stay, and again, like, we're trying to budget for all of that kind of stuff in the future.
Like, I do think we probably will wind up going back.
I think so. Whether we do East or not this year, that I'm a bit less... That one I'm a bit more doubtful of. Because we've got another travel con near that, and it is near the beginning of the academic year, which makes it harder for you to do it. Because I don't think we've submitted panels to East.
I've not yet, although I didn't submit panels to East till after Colossalcon Prime was done, because the only reason I did it is because I wanted to do the in-character cosplay contest again. So I submitted a panel, and then, because most of the Colossalcons, the in-character contest is a lot less, like...
It doesn't fill as aggressively.
Yeah, so I signed up for it, like, mid-June, early July, and we still got in, so...
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll think about it, but yeah. Again, I suspect it's going to depend if there's anything across it that weekend. Because I know the reason we didn't go in 24? Yeah, in 24 would be because it was across from something else. I don't remember which con that was.
We talked about this at the beginning of the episode, if you remember. We might not go to East this year just because the Macedonian festival's that weekend.
Which, again, is not really a con in that sense, but it is like...
I kind of want to review it for the podcast.
We can do that.
Although that will be our most controversial episode.
Oh, God. Let's not get into the Greeks versus Macedonians thing.
It's its own thing.
Yep. It's the only time I've ever seen your dad flinch.
Yep.
Somebody suggested combining the Greek festival and the Macedonian festival. You know, Dad actively gave us a look at, oh God, do you know how many people would die?
Technically, you should say North Macedonian so the mass Greek populace doesn't get upset.
Again, it's fine. I am a neutral third party on this one.
You're not neutral because you're married to me.
Oh, yeah.
Although I would point out that, like, I really don't, like, if we want to change the name of the country to something else, I really don't care.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also feel like the Greeks' preciousness about the name is...
weird.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, again, we'll figure out what we're doing, for Colossal next year, closer to. And the honest answer is, there's a decent chance we'll go back, but it's not one that I'm immediately like, yes, I want to do this again immediately.
Yep.
Which we do sometimes get. Like, there are quite a few cons that we go to where we know for 100% certain it's a hard yes, even if it's a long distance travel. Like, Key City is one we're probably going to do again, even though it's a long haul, just because we love it a lot. Whereas this one's a little more borderline.
Yeah. Although it is fun, it is also just, it's a 5-day con, and I generally if a con's going that I don't generally just want to go for one day. I want to go for all the days because I like the full weekend experience generally. So, and finding Airbnbs up there is tight, and like we're not even going to try to get like if we do continue to go to Colossal, we are not going to try to enter the room chaos thing.
No.
Like, they really do just need to make that a lottery now. Like, instead of making people click a bunch of buttons, they probably should just have people just enter all of their information and do what some of the other cons do that have like that, like Gen Con, where they just make it a lottery and then have some people just win it randomly.
Don't take inspiration from Gen Con's gaming system, because Gen Con's gaming system sucks.
Yeah.
But, like...
But most bigger cons do just have room lotteries at this point, and I think Colossal probably needs to get with the program on that one.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't know how much control they have over that. I suspect it's mostly the Kalahari's decision. And I don't think the Kalahari really cares, because all the rooms get filled.
Yep.
So, it's... as far as they're concerned, it's working great. You know, it might be a lousy experience on the day when everybody's trying to book, but, but yeah, I don't get nabbed by any scams because there are people who like invariably a few days after all the rooms in the Kalahari sell out, somebody will claim to have some.
You want to go on the link?
Yeah, I was going to. Yeah, and you know, and it's just like, hey, if you PayPal me a bunch of money to this suspicious address, we will absolutely, I will absolutely transfer the ownership of this room to you. And it's like, yeah, no, don't fall for that.
Yeah.
That's do not ever fall for that.
Yeah. So that was Colossalcon. This is a very long episode.
Yeah, it is. This one's over 3 hours. I'm sorry. I'll see about. Yeah, I'll see if this one gets up on time. I'm going to try. But yeah, we will see. It's going to depend on how cooperative my laptop's being. My poor little laptop, takes a while to process things.
Is this the outro? Start.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah. So next week we're not doing anything big. Where are we going next week?
Korg's, which is somehow different than Torg's gaming thing. We're probably just going to go Sunday because tickets are cheaper.
Yeah. Keeps it simple, keeps it easy.
It'll probably be like a 30-minute episode at most.
Yeah. But, yeah, we figure you guys could use a respite after this one.
I mean, it's also week to use a respite.
Yeah. Because after that, we've got a couple of slightly larger ones back to back, which is Animate, and then Origins, which is... We're looking forward to Origins a lot, but that's another 5-day con, and that is an intense one for us. Like, that's 12-hour days of gaming, plus any like breaks in the middle. Like, we are going to be there a long time.
Yep.
So, plus an hour back and forth driving. But hey, that one will have a guest star on that episode, so
yeah.
Looking forward to that. And then after that, I forget what the last thing in June is. I don't think... Is there anything in the last week of June?
I've tried to set aside some time so we can help with moving, so we might do some smaller things. Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, so that's kind of the plan for the upcoming stuff. And yeah, that was Colossalcon. Mostly good, some pretty rough. And we'll see if we go back next year.
Yeah. Talk to you soon.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.